Need at least one win and possibly two to qualify for the knockout stages, and Hampshire, who are already there. They got there on Monday evening, actually, after a tie of all things between Lancashire and Derbyshire. So Essex have won the toss and they have chosen to field. It means it carries on a long sequence of Hampshire batting first in these games. And the Essex side sees Noah Thane and Charlie Bennett coming into it. So Paul Walter, Michael Pepper, Charlie Allison, Luke Benkenstein, Matt Critchley, Noah Thane, Simon Harmer, Shane Snater, Charlie Bennett back after missing the last couple of games, Mackenzie Jones and Sam Cook. So Essex say at least one win needed, and if they can get a win tonight, it's going to really set them on their way to possibly qualifying on Sunday against Surrey. That's an evening match at the Oval. If they lose, it's going to leave them with an awful lot to do in that game. More on the qualifying situation in just a moment, but now it's good evening to Kevin James.
Yes, good evening, Nick. Good evening, everyone. Always a pleasure coming to Chelmsford on a Friday night. It means about a 7-hour round trip, apart from anything else. And usually it ends with a pretty tough game for Hampshire. Lost on the last couple of occasions. As you mentioned, Hampshire have batted first on here every year since COVID, with only a couple of wins to show for it. Essex have won the last couple on this ground. Hampshire have made one change from the side that lost to Middlesex a couple of days ago. Sonny Baker has been released by England, so if you're going to the Utilita Bowl tomorrow to watch the last T20 International against India and you were hoping that Sonny would be involved, he's not. He's here and he takes the place of Eddie Jack, who played his first game the other night against Middlesex. So Hampshire are Toby Albert, James Vince the captain, Joe Weatherly, Ben Mays, Tristan Stubbs, Hilton Cartwright, James Fuller, Scott Curry, Andrew Neal, Chris Wood and Baker.
So, I'll say the last two games of the qualifying part of the T20. It's all in a complete rush, of course, this year, because we've got the quarterfinals coming up on Wednesday, and some of those might be afternoon starts, and everyone's wondering who's going to be playing who. But of course, the first thing is to determine who the quarterfinalists are going to be. We mentioned that Hampshire already through, as are Northants and Yorkshire and Notts. So it's a question for the others of trying to find their way into the last eight. The situation in the group: Hampshire with 28 points, really looking for a win that will set them very much on course to potentially winning the group tonight, but that rather depends on Surrey's last two results. It's pretty close on net run rate between Hampshire and Surrey. So Hampshire 28, Surrey 24, Essex on 20 with a net run rate of plus 0.1, which isn't anything particularly special at the moment. It has on occasions during the group phase been boosted, as with the Sussex game, and been really damaged, as with the Northants game. Then we have Kent on 16 points. They have a negative run rate. Middlesex, I think, technically could still get into the shake-up, but they won't, mainly because they've got quite a poor run rate, and Sussex are completely out of it. So that's the situation in the South group. Basically, there are lots of scenarios this evening, but if we look at the best and worst case, the likelihood is it will go to the last game. But there is a scenario where Essex could qualify tonight if Kent, Durham and Lancashire all lose and Essex win. Conversely, if Essex do lose and Lancashire and Durham both win, Essex are in quite a spot of bother going into the last round of games, mainly because those two sides in the North Group play each other. But we will talk more about that as time goes on, and we'll see how the other games are progressing. Remember, it's the best two third-place sides that go through, with the top two in each group. And I think we can presume, because the Central and West group have done so well in the cross-pool games, that that group is going to supply one of the best third place sides, and then it's going to be between the South group and the North group. So really the contenders in the North group for that third spot are Lancashire and Durham. Lancashire 18 points and Durham 16. So those were two sides that Essex particularly might well be keeping an eye on. But if they win the last two games, Essex, or indeed a win and a tie, will almost certainly be enough, but two wins definitely will.
Yeah, well, there'll be the same number of points as Hampshire if they lose their last two. But yeah, I spoke to Russell Domingo, the Hampshire head coach, just a little earlier. He feels just one more win out of the two will be enough to see them top the group. And Hampshire have only ever had 4 home quarter-finals out of the 13 quarter-finals that they've been involved in since the competition started in 2003.
Yeah, they've been absolutely brilliant, winning away from home, often at test match venues at Edgbaston and Trent Bridge. I've known them over the years, roll up at Trent Bridge and win every time. 11 finals days since 2010 and 3 successful campaigns resulting in lifting the trophy. So and that period 2010 to 2014 particularly was absolutely extraordinary. But yeah, they've got a terrific record. Once they get through Hampshire, they certainly far more often than not get through to finals day itself. And of course, as with Essex, it can be mixed fortunes.
Well, yeah, but I mean, you guys have got a good record in this competition recently as well, and it wasn't so long ago that we contested a semi-final at finals.
That's right, and that was one that Hampshire looked like they were going to win for a fair bit of proceedings, but Essex got over the line. So, and of course, all coming up very soon. The quarterfinals on Wednesday with start times and venues and competitors to be confirmed, and then finals day in its normal format on Saturday. Just a possibility of the weather starting to become a bit more typical for England by Saturday, but you'd never know, because these heat waves tend to get extended and extended, don't they? But we shall wait and see. I'm sure it won't be anything too bad. One little bit of news as we wait, with Essex winning the toss and choosing to field, is that both the women's sides have had successful afternoons already, which is very good news. With Essex women getting a victory over Durham by 12 runs, and Hampshire women beating Warwickshire by 4 wickets. Unfortunately, though, from the Essex women's point of view, the Blaze won their match, and that means that the top 4 are sorted for finals day for the women, which is on Friday. So that's sort of not such good news. But what we can say is that Essex have really upped their performance level in the last 2 or 3 games, played brilliantly against Surrey last Sunday, unlucky to lose against Somerset on Tuesday, and Grace Shriven's back in the runs today with 85 from 64 balls. Anika Bosch, who played so well last Sunday, 48 from 37, 162 for 4 Essex. And with the bowlers, it was 2 wickets for Gray, 2 for McGregor after her 4 on Tuesday, and so all told, very good indeed. And Hampshire rolling on with the women's team doing extremely well, Kevin.
Yeah, quite incredible. Still top the group. They've topped the group for quite a while. Really pleased for Nancy Harmon today, who came in the middle order. No Maya Boucher, who's been superb in the tournament. She's at Lord's playing in the test match against India. Nancy Harmon with 49 of 26 balls. That would have been a crucial knock, with Hampshire winning with an over to spare. So a really good win. Keeps them in good form going into next Friday. And those 4 teams you mentioned already qualified. It's Hampshire, Surrey, Durham and the Blaze. Those are the 4 teams that will be there next Friday, and we'll have live coverage on the BBC Sport website and app.
Yep, so it's going to be a busy weekend. Some might say that we've probably already got to the point where finals day for the men and women should be the same day as it is for the 100. It could be regarded as copying the 100, but I have a feeling it might not be too far away in coming, because of course the 2 competitions run parallel throughout until we actually get to the finals day, which is a slight curiosity. Anyway, a lovely evening. It's just cooled down a little bit in the last couple of hours, and it is a sellout here. There's still a few seats to be seen away to the left, in front of the apartments. The floodlights flickering into life about 2 hours before they really need to. But
is this the light show?
Yeah, I think it is just a light show. And Essex fielding first. Now Jordan Cox, the fact he's not playing in this game does suggest, I would have thought, that he is going to also be potentially playing tomorrow. I hope Liam Dawson also gets a game on his home turf. So that's the final game for the triumphing England T20 side against India, which is at Southampton tomorrow afternoon. And one suspects the fact that Jordan Cox not being made available for this game suggests he should be getting an outing tomorrow.
Well, I for one wish him very well, and I'm very glad he's not here tonight, because last year when Hampshire lost by 4 wickets trying to defend 220, Jordan Cox absolutely smashed the Hampshire bowling attack to all parts of Chelmsford. 139 not out of just 60 deliveries, 11 fours and 11 sixes. It was an amazing knock. He had a big shot for just about every ball that was bowled at him. It was just one of those nights where he could do absolutely nothing wrong, but he's a terrific player. And he deserves to be playing more for England than he does, doesn't he?
Yeah, I mean, he's been unlucky, of course, with the injuries he's had at crucial times. And of course, he batted at number 7 in that Test match, where he probably was asking who's number 8. Was told it was Jofra. Well, Jofra's batting is decent, but let's just say you're dropping off a bit of a cliff between Cox at 7 and Jofra and the rest. And so I must admit, I thought he might make 35 not out. I think he got about 25 in the end. Anyway, it's going to be Sam Cook, and it's going to be Toby Albert and James Vince. So Albert on strike with a slip and 5 saving 1, and that's just run down into the offside, goes out towards critically a backward point, and there's no run. So Toby Albert 198 runs, and James Vince has been in pretty good touch, particularly in the second half of the competition, Kevin.
Yeah, 300 runs against his name, striking at 157 this year, which is a little more than his career, which is 136. So when he is out there, he's scoring quickly. Toby Albert's just a little bit down on his terrific season of last year, where he got the most runs, over 630 in the competition.
Yeah, that's a great number. Here is Cook again, bowls. Oh, and that's interesting. It's outside the off stump. Albert was going across his crease looking to play the ramp, and then backed out of it, and he goes to prod the pitch. So, well, that was a curiosity, but a change of mind. It's a dot ball.
Yeah, he does that actually. What he does, he'll come across, and then if the ball's way outside off stump, he actually open the face of the bat and then try and lift it over the keeper or over first slip. That way he just missed. Still people moving in front of us. It's going to be a busy night here tonight.
Well, the crowd is just in the area right in front of us is still very much just coming in, as this is played off the back foot. A nice stroke by Albert, send it down towards Benkenstein at third man. As a single, a lot of bowling in the Essex side tonight. One or two haven't seen much of with the ball, like Luke Benkenstein. Essex will be chasing later. I think Hampshire will look at the Essex lineup and think, without Cox, if they can get a decent score on the board, they can put the batting lineup under pressure. But of course, the star man for Essex with the bat arguably is Simon Harmer, averaging over 90.
Useful player coming in low middle order, isn't he?
Here's Sam Cook from the Graham Gooch end, ups the wicket, bowls. It's partly cloudy here, plenty of blue sky. It's just played defensively by Vince, up towards mid-on, and there is no run. So James Vince coming into, well, with the T20 all joined up, coming into virtually the last week of his season for Hampshire. It's curious, isn't it, to think of it in those terms, but he'll be hoping, of course, that he's very much involved still next Saturday on finals day. And here's Cook to bowl to Vince, and Vince actually plays a bit of a false shot. It in the end goes square into the onside, and he'll collect a single. I think he's trying to hit that a lot straighter, but gets himself up and running, and it is 2 without loss in the first. Quite impressive over here from Sam Cook.
Yeah, inside half of the bat there from James Vince, bat a little bit away from the pad, and that ball just held its line. He shaped a couple away from Albert earlier in the over.
Yeah, it's bowling nicely. He came back into the side with 4 for 7 at Hove. Couldn't prevent Essex losing to Middlesex. Yeah, it's a beauty. It's a really good over this. That's a beaten Albert outside the off stump as he went on the drive. Just left him, as Kevin was saying, 1 or 2 previous deliveries had done. What a good over that was from Cook, who's averaging 5 with the ball. Because he got that 4 for 7, which does help. So yeah, it's been really good for Essex to have him back at the business end of this competition, Kevin.
Has he been injured? Because this is only his third game.
He's been out of the side for a long time, and very much an important thing for Essex to have him back in contention. 2 for no wicket, with a single apiece to Albert and Vince.
So that's Snater. Bowl his medium pacers from our commentary end, it's a Nick Cook end, isn't it?
Yeah, Alistair Cook.
Alistair Cook. Oh, Nick Cook. Why do I say Nick Cook?
Nick,
Who do I know Nick Cook? He's a former left-arm spinner.
Right.
Played at Leicestershire. What am I saying? Former umpire. There's too many Cooks around. And the Graham Gooch end is the far end as we look. Sunshine, well, it was quite hazy.
I spent most of the first half of the season getting Weatherald and Lehman getting confused on the two, wasn't I? I think they've just got over that now.
Yeah, keeper standing up to Snater, and Vince tries to heave it away the leg side, bowled. Middle stump is out of the ground. Vince was taking him on the very first delivery. It was arrow straight. Vince missed, and that's a blow. Vince gone for 1. Hampshire 2 for 1.
Well, that's a huge wicket because we know how influential James Vince can be in these games, and had he been at the crease much longer, I was going to talk about that 103 off 48 balls he made in 2023 when he virtually won the game off his own bat in the first 45 minutes. Well, that's not going to happen this evening. It was a bit of an agricultural shot this early from Vince there, just swinging across the line at that one from Snater and middle stump castled. So 2 for 1, a terrific early breakthrough for Shane Snater, his 12th wicket in the competition, and it's going to bring in Weatherly, leading run scorer for Hampshire, earlier than he would have liked, but Hampshire do have plenty of batting, but they'll be disappointed that Vince has gone so quickly.
Yeah, it did look as though Vince was just taking it on straight away. He wasn't going to play himself in or just get the pace of the pitch or whatever. It looked like he determined he was going to play that shot no matter what. Front foot way outside the leg stump. Really did open himself out, and good wicket there for Shane Snater. So blow for Hampshire early on. 7 balls gone. Joe Weatherly, who's been scoring at 145 per 100 balls, and he's another one that's been scoring slightly quicker than his overall career, which is 130. As Snater's in, and Weatherly's going to take a quick single up to mid-on. That's a good run in the end, actually. It was to Walter's left. That is Walter there, isn't it? Yeah.
Mackenzie Jones.
Oh, it's Mackenzie Jones, because he's tall
quite,
as well.
Yeah, tall
isn't
as well. Yeah. So
I forgot how tall he was, the Scottish international.
Mackenzie Jones got a good contribution at I found it slightly tougher going. I guess when Essex were only defending 142, it was always going to be difficult, and he didn't bowl till quite late in proceedings on Sunday.
Snater runs away from us. Keeper still standing up. Bowls to Albert, who goes for the flick, and there he does. He opens the face. It goes over slip. 1 bounce for 4 at the far end of the ground.
Yeah, it looks like there's an awful lot of risks there with the short third in, but actually it was very well executed, wasn't it? And he's obviously mastered that shot. He's practiced it, and probably hit it about as well as he would have possibly wished to there.
It actually would have been a wide had he not tried to play a shot at that. It was outside of those blue lines that are painted on for this competition. Snater comes in again, bowls, and that's hit over the top of cover, and it's a short boundary away to our left, and it hasn't been hit very well, but might still go for 4, and it does. That'll give you an example. We are playing to the left side of this ground, which is away from the pavilion as we look. The pavilion's to our right. This wicket is cut left of centre, and that is a very short boundary, and that wasn't hit well at all. But a boundary it is, and Hampshire move on to 11 for 1.
Yes, a miss-hit for 4 there.
10 balls gone. Albert's 9 off 6. Here's Snater. Low full toss, flicked away, that's going for 4. That's really sped off the bat there. Got it wrong there, Snater. And Albert moves on to 13, 15 for 1.
Yeah, first bad ball. He didn't land that at all, really, Snater, and it was a bit of a gift. Just make sure you hit it past the square leg umpire, and it's more often than not that's going to go for 4. Nicely tucked away.
Looked like he just tried to cut his fingers across the seam there, over the top of the ball, and you always run the risk there, of course, of it not being as accurate as your normal stock delivery. 15 for 1 Hampshire, having been put into bat here. Still looking for that one victory that will give them a home quarter final. Albert opens the face, works it out to backward a point. Just the single, even though the ball finds its way out onto the boundary on that left-hand side. End of the over. And Hampshire are 16 for 1. Lost the wicket of Vince, but they scored 14 off it.
So, elsewhere, Kent playing Surrey this evening. Zach Crawley out for 31, and Kent are 60 for 3 in the 9th over. That one is at Canterbury. And if Kent do lose that game, they are really completely out of the equation. They lost twice to Essex, which hasn't helped their cause at all. Had some good performances, notably against Hampshire at Canterbury.
Played well.
Here's Cook in his 2nd over, up to the wicket, bowls, and that's played away nicely through the covers. That's a good stroke. It's going to the long boundary and will go all the way for 4. Toby Albert there stroking that one very, very nicely. And just bisecting the offside infield, 3 in the infield, mid-off, cover and backward point. Hit it between cover and backward point, and it was a beautiful stroke. It started off very well, 18 from 9, 20 for 1 Hampshire after 13 balls. It's not too rowdy at the moment. It's really quite peaceful. It's a good crowd,
Early
though.
days, isn't
Early days, yes. As that's run down through the short third gap, down to Benkenstein on the third man boundary, who makes sure there's no remote thought of a second run. He got to that very quickly, coming from just underneath the Tom Pearce stand. Still more spectators coming in down the steps in front of us, and a few bottles of water accompanying them, which is a good idea.
Assuming it's water, then.
Yeah, well, I think so, that one. 21 for 1. Later on it won't be. 21 for 1 in the third. Cook from the Graham Gooch end, up to the wicket, bowls, and that's driven away and just goes past Thane at backward point. I think it might have bounced before it got to him, but it's gone away for 4. It was hit hard, and Weatherly goes to 5. It was uppish, and Thane was just moving across to that one and just having a look to see you certainly went through him. Maybe would have bounced before reaching him, but it's gone for 4 and it's 25 for 1, and this is a profitable series of deliveries here for Hampshire after a quiet start. 25 for 1.
I think it's going to be tough for the seam bowlers in this power play.
Here's Cook again. It's a very good delivery, and Weatherly's happy just to go defensively up into the offside, and there's no run. So Hampshire, after that defeat by Somerset in the first game, and of course it turned out they weren't alone, because the Central and West group dusted up the South group in the cross-pool game 6-0, and the South group were lucky to get nil. Actually, they lost all 6 very heavily, but after that Hampshire went on a terrific winning run, didn't they? And just lost 2 games recently, 20 including Middlesex, but of course Essex will know about that, as that's played up into the onside. Quick single, and well judged. It was a good call, that, because it wasn't hit too hard. Mid-on had a little way to come in, Mackenzie Jones, and couldn't do much with that. That was a good call. And 19 to Albert, 6 to Weatherly, 26 for 1, but Joe Weatherly spotted that. And actually it was a slight misfield, but I think it was a pretty well judged single, that, because it wasn't hit too hard. Here's Cook again, up to the wicket. Slip is deep, and that's sort of paddled round the corner past Bennett, goes down towards deep backward square leg, and they collect a single. So all told, given it's Sam Cook bowling, I think Hampshire will be quite happy with the, I think, a little matter of 11 coming off the over. 27 for 1 after 3, and after the early loss of Vince, Hampshire probably redressed the balance in the intervening period. 27 for 1 after 3.
Yeah, you mentioned about Hampshire's form. They won 6 in a row after that defeat at Somerset, and then they've lost 2 of their last 3, just at a time when Hampshire just need to just get that extra victory and just get them over the line in terms of a home quarter-final tie. It's interesting from Hampshire because it's almost like it's reversed. Hampshire usually start slowly,
yes,
and then really come good in the second half of the competition. You could almost look at the stats at the moment and say, hang on a minute, going into this quarter-final, assuming they don't lose the next 2, they're probably not in quite as good a form. Here's Snater, and Albert hits that straight to point. That is Paul Walter there. That's nicely timed. Albert is just taking his time this year. He's not been in bad nick. He's had some really good deliveries bowled at him up, in those first few overs. He's got some really good balls. 46 in that loss against Middlesex at the Utility, his top score of the season in the last game. 27 for 1 in the 4th. Snater, right arm medium pace, runs away from us, bowls, and Albert's bowled. The off stumps come out of the ground. Well, that's just nipped away there. That's a peach of a delivery. It's drawn Albert into the drive, and he's just found some movement off the pitch. And Hampshire 27 for 2.
Well, Snater very much on the money in terms of knocking over the stumps, and yeah, that did look a very good delivery, just as Hampshire were getting a useful partnership together there, particularly Toby Albert with a very good start. That delivery from Snater has taken out his leg stump. It must have moved quite late, that, looking at the replay.
It's just come back. It's actually come back at him.
Through the gate, isn't it?
It's a similar ball to Vince, actually. Vince's was slightly shorter, and he was playing more of an agricultural heave. There, Albert's playing a little straighter, and it's just got between bat and pad.
Yeah.
It's nipped back.
Well, Snater very much in the wickets. He was leading the attack for a long time in Cook's absence, but he's a leading wicket taker with these 2 for Essex. He's gone to 13 wickets. His economy rate's been around about 9, and he's done a sterling job. And well, that's a bit of a setback. Now, interesting to see Ben Mays got some runs recently, didn't he? I think in the last game.
47 not out.
Yeah.
Batting at 4 off 37 deliveries, the 18-year-old.
27 for 2, coming in ahead of Stubbs and Cartwright.
Keeper still standing up as Snater comes in. Mays is on the back foot, works it back to the bowler. Yes, everybody's hoping that young Ben Mays develops. Well, he will develop, it's just how quickly he develops. He's only playing his 8th T20 game tonight. Only played his first one in the quarter-final up at Durham last year.
And I think it helps a younger batter, particularly when his main forte is batting, to have quite a lot of time to bat.
Yeah. Here's Snater in, and Mays played that late, and that's raced down to third at the far end of the ground for 4.
Yeah,
My word, he played that late.
It was very, very well played indeed, because got bat on it and timed it so well.
Yeah.
Very fine.
I think he would have learned a lot. I mean, coming in at 4, there's obviously a lot of pressure and usually a lot of batting to be done when you're coming in so high, and I think he would have learnt a lot in that game against Middlesex. I know it was 47 not out of 37, which is fairly quick in itself, but actually in the overall context of the game, probably could have, and I'm sure he knows, it could have been a little quicker. Length ball to Mays, and I'm sure he will have learnt from that knock. Be interesting to see how much he's learnt coming into tonight.
Yeah, looking at the scores from that game, I was thinking maybe it was a used pitch. I don't know whether
It was.
Oh,
Yeah, it
right,
was,
yeah. But Hampshire's innings seemed to slow down a little bit towards the end.
The spinners were, we didn't have enough
Coleman had
spinners.
another good game, didn't he?
Yeah.
2 in a row.
Yeah, we had 1.5 spinners really, with Tristan Stubbs bowling 4 overs. I should imagine that's his longest spell ever in T20 cricket. Here's Snater again. Mays works that away on the onside, runs the first one quickly. Shouldn't be any more than 1. They are going to run 2. And you have to hurry. He's okay. That's good running actually. He's quite quick, is young Ben Mays. He moves on to 6. That's 4 overs gone. Hampshire 33 for 2. Snater 2 for 20 from 2.
And you're listening to BBC Essex and BBC Radio Solent with Nick Leadhill and Kevin James here. In another heat wave, we started off back in Southampton. The reverse fixture was very much heat wave conditions. That was the first of the 3, and now the third of the 3. Here we are again. But Kevin's had to do the travelling today, so it's evened out. And well, 33 for 2. A pretty good start for Essex and for Shane Snater. He'll be delighted with the way he's started. Just 1 or 2 loose deliveries, but also a couple of very, very threatening ones. Now it's going to be Mackenzie Jones coming on relatively early. And it was interesting on Sunday, we noted that Simon Harmer really front-loaded his attack. He only bowled 4 different bowlers for the first 13 overs. Here is Mackenzie Jones, that's bowling, and that's flicked away nicely over short fine leg by Weatherly for 4. It's a bit short, it was there for the shot, and he just had to make sure he got decent bat. It's a pretty short boundary out there on the leg side, and you just got to make sure you're nowhere near the boundary fielders, and we are still in the power play, so you haven't got too many to avoid. And Weatherly there played that nicely. So he's gone to 10, it's 37 for 2 in the 5th. Jones again from the Graham Gooch end bowls, and that's a clubbing drive, not perfectly timed, but good enough for a second 4 in the over. It goes to a deep mid-wicket boundary. Might have been trying to hit it a bit straighter, but got enough bat on it. As we said, it's a short boundary out there, and some connections that aren't perfect will still be good enough to go away for 4.
Yeah, that's going to be a real problem for both sides to defend. Away to our left, that's nowhere near out of the middle of the bat, and yet it always looked like it was going for 4.
Yeah, I think the key thing here is to try and get it over towards off stump. You've got the 3 saving 1 on the offside. There's the mid-on, mid-wicket and short fine leg on the leg side, mid-off square cover and point on the offside, plus a slip. So a 3-3 plus a slip field. 2 on the boundary as Jones bowls, and that's driven away square through the offside, being chased around by Benkenstein. He will stop it. The outfield is fast. They get back for a second run. That's the longer boundary, got across nicely. A little bit of an area of shadow there, just being extended from the pavilion, and got back for a couple of runs. But Weatherly profiting well here. Jones doing the right thing, getting it over to offside, but 2 more runs to Weatherly, 16.
Well, this looks a good pitch, doesn't it, really?
Yeah.
And fast outfield, small boundary as well, as I say, to our left, and it does feel as though it's a night that Hampshire need a big score here.
As they found 220 wasn't enough last year, but there's no Jordan Cox to worry about on this occasion, which they'll be pleased about, I suspect, as this one is a good delivery. That's the best he's bowled. That one sped through, and it beats the stroke from Weatherly outside the off stump. Appeared to be more of an effort ball, and pitched nicely, and beat the attempted stroke away through the offside.
And there's good length. Whether he's trying to drive on the up, not quite behind the line. I think he's trying to hit that more through the covers, trying to give himself a little bit of room.
Lovely fine evening. There is some high wispy cloud, but it's not, I don't think, as hot as it might have been, as this next delivery is picked up and hit away down towards the backward square leg boundary for 4. So Weatherly profiting well on this over. Got a good ball last time up, but he's gone 4.42.4, which he'll settle for. And that one just straying again on towards the leg stump. But what Weatherly did there was make sure he made use of the short boundary by just getting across and helping it away just back of the square.
Yeah, that's his shot. Behind square on the leg side, just helping it away. He gets lots of runs in that area. They've got a man at deep square, but that short boundary is, you need about 5 around that area.
47 for 2 in the 5th. Mackenzie Jones bowls again. That's another useful delivery. He's bowled 2 in the over. That one almost ends up in the pads of Weatherly as he's trying to work it away into the onside. He gets virtually no bat in it at all, and it just drops down in front of him. But interesting over that from Mackenzie Jones with a couple of pretty good deliveries. 1 or 2 that weren't quite with the right line, but interesting to see if he'll get another over off the back of that. But Snater's been the star so far, 2 for 20 in his 2 overs. Hampshire are 47 for 2, and we've had 5.
I'll tell you what, there's plenty of people seating on the grass in front of the pavilion, isn't there?
Yeah,
They're
set out, and obviously that area they take into account, I guess, when they're determining how many can get into the ground. But those seats we were talking about, the white bucket seats in front of the apartments, there's not many spare ones now. It's about 95% full.
Charlie Bennett, the 20-year-old, one of the 2 changes in the Essex side, coming into bowl with his right arm medium quicks, runs away from us and bowls, and down the leg side he's half appealing for a catch behind, but umpire signalling a wide.
Yeah, and he going into this game, despite missing the last couple of games, he was the leading wicket taker for Essex with 12. He's been overtaken by Snater in this match. He's missed the last 2 games. Might have had a bit of a niggle, but he really has impressed with the way he's learned the skills of how to bowl in T20 very quickly, except for the leg side wide.
Just not the
but he
first
has
ball.
Been impressive.
Keeper standing back to him as he bowls, and Mays gives himself a lot of room and finds the ball way outside leg stump, and yet he's playing it on the offside, trying. The ball literally just sticks in the ground below him. There's a little bit of pace there, isn't there, from Bennett?
Yeah, he's
I see why keeper Michael Pepper's standing back. He's considerably quicker than Snater.
He's been quite an important part of the Essex success, particularly in the middle of the competition when they strung together 4 wins in a row.
Running in again, past the umpire, bowls to Mays, who tries to whip that away on the leg side, gets wrapped on the thigh pad, ball ricochets down to short third man where they get a single. That'll be a leg by.
Yeah, he's just trying to get to grips with the pace of Bennett there. Wasn't quite there with the timing for the shot. Ball just studded into him high up.
A bit quicker than Cook as well, isn't he?
Yeah.
I don't think I've really seen him bowled before, actually. It'll be my first time. I know this is only his 10th T20 match. Comes in again. Quite rangy strides as he bowls. It's down the leg side. It's coming off the thigh pad of Joe Weatherly. Throw comes in from short fine. I think Mays would have been all right.
Well, this season's been interesting because there was a point early on when the thought might have been that Essex almost had too many seam bowling options, and it was difficult for the likes of Bennett to come through because they'd signed Zaman Akhtar from Gloucestershire, Mitch Colleen as well. But with various absences and injuries, as is often the case with bowling attacks, opportunities emerge, and Bennett has thoroughly taken those available to him.
Comes in again and bowls short. Oh, that's a lovely shot there from Mays, who's helped it over the boundary for 6. It was short, it was head high. Mays gave himself some room, stepped inside the line and just helped it past the keeper.
Yeah, he's worked out there. He's going to use the pace. And it's exactly what he did, wasn't it? Brilliantly done.
He really did. He had to lean as well, really a lot to the leg side, because the ball followed him a fraction and just left the bat there. And it is short boundary. We always say that here, short boundary behind the wicket, and that's a really good shot. 6 to Ben Mays, doubles his score to 12. That's off 7, and Hampshire have got 56 for 2 with 2 balls left of the power play. Still people coming in front of us as just about get to see this ball as Mays whacks that through the covers. 4 runs. That's out of the middle of the bat. 10 off the last 2 deliveries. Does feel like a high scoring night. Hampshire will have to keep this pace up, even though they've lost a couple of early wickets, which are big blows in Albert and Vince. But that's a lovely piece of timing from Ben Mays. 16, he moves on to 60 for 2.
Yeah, looks a good pitch. I think part of the Essex thinking that see what Hampshire can get and maybe feel confident about chasing it down on this surface. But of course, Hampshire have had varied success batting first. Very good, thanks to Vince in 23, but other occasions it hasn't worked for them.
Here's Bennett again, bowls. Mays is going to get a quick single to mid-wicket. I think that's a good run single, that. Almost straight at the fielder, and Mays was off straight away. End of the over. He's going to keep the strike. Hampshire are 61 for 2.
Yeah, we mentioned that Vince game in 2023. A couple of fairly straightforward wins for Essex, batting second by 8 wickets in 22 and 24. Of course, last year was the Jordan Cox match, and in 2021, Hampshire won a narrow game by 13 runs, but again, they were batting first so, in that sequence. So since COVID, if you like, it's been 3-2 to Essex on this ground, and Essex have won the last couple, but in contrast to a very, very strong run of victories for Hampshire when they're playing Essex at home. So Paul Walter, I mean, so many bowling options here for Essex. And I mentioned on Sunday, by the time we got to the 13th over, we'd only actually seen 4 bowlers, which is extremely unusual. That certainly isn't the case this evening. Interestingly, as it's going to be Walter, the 7th over bowls, and this is hit in the air and just goes. It would have been a low catch to a sort of cover point, but Critchley was more at a straighter cover and couldn't get across to it, and they get through for a single, but it was a full shot.
Well, it was wide of off stump, and it looked like Mays was committed, and then right at the last minute he decided he wasn't going to hit it, and then in the end just ballooned the ball up in the air. That was, wow, a little bit lucky.
Yeah, it's mid-off. There's a straight cover. As I say, a squarer cover would have probably got that low down, and a short third on the offside, and a short fine leg, the only one saver on the leg side. And this is played with an angled bat. It runs down towards short third. If a shot at the stumps would have hit, and probably would have been a run out. That was quite a tight single as Mays was coming to the keeper's end, and Cook had all 3 stumps to aim at from short third, and the ball bounced and went over the stumps. Had it hit, I think Mays would have been in quite a lot of trouble.
Well, how did that bounce? Because we're right behind him, and when he let the ball out of his hand, it was hitting the stumps, and it somehow it jumped about 3 or 4 feet from the stumps. It just popped up.
Much to Hampshire's delight, I think, there. 63 for 2. Walter bowls again. This is hit away up towards the mid-wicket. That's a better connection, and that is going all the way for 6. May certainly can play his shots, and he had to reach for that, but he had great certainty about what he was trying to do, and he latched onto that a little bit short, rode the bounce, and just had to make sure he didn't find the man at deep mid-wicket. He went between long on and deep mid-wicket, away into the crowd in front of the apartments. Fine shot from Mays, 24 for him, 69 for 2.
I'll tell you what, when this boy really gets going, he's going to be a serious
good star,
player.
yeah. Oof. This next one is just a little bit slower, pulled right by Mays, gets a single just wide of long on. Interestingly, the scoreboard is insisting that Pepper is bowling. Now, Pepper's probably one of only 2 players in the Essex side who definitely won't see bowl today, but he might be slightly amused by that, but probably decide on how well Walter's bowling and decide whether to inherit his figures or not. But it is rather surprising to see Walter bowling at this stage. 70 for 2 in the 7th over.
Yeah, somebody's been fed some duff information on that scoreboard, haven't they?
Yes, you can definitely recognise Paul Walter when he's bowling his left arm seam, and that's run down towards third man. And there's Charlie Allison looking for the second run, and probably not a good idea on Allison's arm. And they just stick for 1. Allison has been had a really very, very good season for Essex. He's probably, I would say he's just gone off the ball slightly, but he's probably due another big score. And but he has done very well in this competition. There will be a key man in Cox's absence today, later on. 25 Mays, 21 Weatherly, 70 for 2 in the 7th. And this is driven away, goes past mid-off and goes for 4. Good shot from Mays. He really is playing very well indeed here. And if he perhaps was scoring a little bit slower than would have been ideal on suddenly he's sort of, it was actually on Wednesday, wasn't it, in the last game? He's rectifying that here because he's 29 from 13 balls and it's 75 for 2 after 7.
Yeah, I mean, I did say earlier that I think that innings would have done him a lot of good. Yeah, he'll know that he was probably, just a little bit slower than he would like. But I mean, this guy's only 18. He's played a handful of games. He's no age and no experience at all. But I tell you what, even if he gets out now, just what you've seen tonight. There's some serious stuff going on with him that we'll see over the next few years.
Expecting him to be a big part of the 50 over competition?
Probably, yeah.
Unless he gets snapped up by somebody.
He's been picked up. No, he's been picked up in the 100, yeah.
But of course, I think there's a bit more latitude now about allowing players to go between 100 games and 50 over.
Yeah, there is.
So
I mean, we may see.
So I'm sure he may well appear. But that's actually a good indication of how much he's impressed, the fact that he's been snapped up as a batter already.
I mean, just the bat speed on a couple of the shots tonight. I mean, that one over mid-wicket earlier off Walter, I mean, he actually didn't get hold of it, and yet the bat speed through the ball was just incredible. Right, Matt Critchley with his leg spin. First bit of spin tonight, and Weatherly's off the back foot, working that out to deep cover on that short boundary side on the offside. 76 for 2, Hampshire in the 8th. Yes, they've lost Vince for 1 and Toby Albert for 20, but they are making some decent progress, which they'll need to do here. They'll lose some wickets doing it, but they really do need, it feels, a good score here. As Critchley gives it some air. It's up in the air, and it's not over the head of Walter, no, and it's going to be Mays that's gone. Walter's done really well there. The ball hung in the air, and he was running back, facing the ball. He was running backwards, and Mays has gone for 29. And it's 76 for 3. The spin's done it.
Critchley working his magic against Hampshire again, and let's just say that Walter used his height there because he was the ideal man in the right place there, because it might have been a more difficult catch for a shorter fielder to take that one. They might have had to run a little bit further back, but Walter, with outstretched arms, ending Mays' innings prematurely. What a very promising knock that was, actually. 29 from 13 balls, 14 actually, I think, when he's out. But it was a very, very promising innings indeed. And so innings just when it again was flourishing from a Hampshire point of view. They've lost a wicket. Weatherly, I think, will be sort of looking to play a role to bat for as much of the innings as possible. There's plenty of stroke players to come, with Cartwright coming in next. And 76 for 3, so pretty even in the 8th over. But Critchley against Hampshire can't do too much wrong, can he?
Unbelievable, bat and ball in the championship. I know. It's I think in order for Hampshire to get a really good score, somebody needs to get an 80. Really, I mean, it's all very well getting the 20s. It does keep the scoring rate moving along, but what it does do as you move through the overs, it means you're then relying on the lower middle order, lower order to score quickly as well, and be using up a few overs. So they've only lost 3, Hampshire, but players getting into the 20s. It's the difference between a good score and a very good score. If somebody, i.e. Weatherly, Stubbs, Cartwright, Fuller, there's plenty of batting to come, but somebody you just feel needs to get a good at 70 or 80 in there. Right, Hilton Cartwright it is, facing Critchley, and Cartwright's off the back foot, steers that out to backward a point, and there's no run. He's having a decent season again, Hilton Cartwright, just under 200 runs. He's striking at 165 per 100. Again, another of the Hampshire batters who's above his career, which is 132, so Hampshire are getting good value from him. That's not timed as it's worked out to mid-wicket.
And of course Stubbs and Cartwright did very well in the reverse fixture, didn't they, when they really took the game away from Essex back in May at Southampton.
Yes, they did. They put on a combined 84 partnership off 6 overs, the two of them. See, those bottles of water have turned to beer already, Nick. That's a cut away. Not timed, but he somehow got it past the diving Paul Walter backward a point. No, that's not Paul Walter.
It's Charlie Bennett.
Charlie Bennett.
Yeah,
it wasn't timed, but it's just bobbled away from the fielder.
Of course, as the weather, heatwave conditions continue, with hose pipe bans being announced locally, I understand, we're going to see some bobbly outfields.
Critchley in, bowls, Cartwright cuts, misses as he's edged through to the keeper, and Hampshire have lost another wicket. That's 4 down at the end of the 8th over. Cartwright goes for 4.
A turn and bounce there for Critchley at first sight, and what a start he's made, and he has had this extraordinary record against Essex this season, 2 for 5 in his 1 over, and that one would be very interesting to see, because it appeared to bounce on Cartwright, surprise him a little bit. Might be a bit of a turn as well, but what a terrific over, because that was, I think, an intervention that has put Essex on top at this particular stage. It was pretty even up until the start of the over, but just looking at that, it's a leg break which has just bounced a little bit, and Cartwright has feathered it through.
Yeah, it's a little too full, isn't it, to cut? You're never quite sure of the bounce when it's that full, so you're really sort of hitting at what you think will be the bounce when it arrives. And well, Matt Critchley, what was it? He got all those wickets in the championship. He got double 100, was it?
Yes, I think it was. It was a very big 100. And then, of course, I think he was instrumental when the reverse championship fixture, which is quite a much tighter game. Yeah. I think he was involved in that as well, in terms of getting.
God, if he played against Hampshire every week, he'd be England's star player.
He's actually had a fairly ordinary competition with the bat up to this point. But what a good over that was for Essex. And really, we are seeing all the changes. Contrast to Sunday, we're seeing virtually everyone get a bowl. Benkenstein now from the Graham Gooch end bowls, and Weatherly plays it up for a single to long on and brings Stubbs on to strike. But yes, whereas we noted that only 4 bowlers have been used in the first, I think, 13 overs on Sunday. What a contrast here. This is 2, 3, 4, 7th bowler in 9 overs. Because Cook's bowled 2 and Snater's bowled 2, and everybody else has bowled 1, including Benkenstein's over here with his leg break. So a fascinating change of policy. It was deliberate on Sunday, because they wanted to try and use the big guns to have any chance of bowling Middlesex out, and this one just flicked away by Stubbs fairly easily into the onside for a single. But Hampshire just needing to rebuild a bit here. 82 for 4. A partnership would be very useful. It would set them on course for something up around 190. But if Essex can take another wicket or two quickly, the visitors are going to have a few problems, as Benkenstein puts that one through flat, and it's driven away up towards deep cover, not perfectly timed. They're going to come back for the second run on the throw, and that's in the end, given it's a longer boundary, that's a pretty good risk reward calculation, because there's plenty of 2s out there. And 84 for 4 with Weatherly to 26.
Just feels though this period might be a more measured period from Hampshire.
Yeah, this one is cut and not timed, and Cook gathers it in at short third and prevents the run. So
it's kind of a period where if you're 80 for 2, you're looking to play a few more shots, and that's where the runs
those 2 wickets
up. But
yeah.
Those 4 wickets down.
9th over, 84 for 4. Hampshire, which is hit away in the air, down the ground. It's going to bounce once and go over the boundary, almost straight, just to the offside of straight. Good shot from Weatherly, just backing away. We mentioned he's really been in the runs in this competition, and just backing away and hitting that straight over the bowler's head. Normally there's nobody fielding there, and of course that was the case in this occasion as well. 88 for 4. 3 saving 1 on the offside, and a short fine angle. It's a full toss, very high as well, and that's clubbed away for 4 to a deep cover boundary. Keep an eye on the umpire there. He's happy with it in terms of height, and it's signalled as 4. 92 for 4, but a good end to the over for Hampshire's looking at the height of that. It looked very just dropping towards the end, wasn't it? But 92 for 4, a bit of a rank full toss. Disappointing end to the over there for Benkenstein. 92 for 4, Weatherly 34 from 19, and Stubbs has 1.
Yeah, he's trying to push it through a little too quick there. I think he's just losing any sort of control. But again, the runs are flowing for Hampshire, but those 4 wickets down is definitely a little bit of a problem for my way of thinking. I just think Hampshire will just have to be a little bit careful. They don't really want to lose another wicket in the next 2, 3, 4 overs, which means that the batters would alter the way they play. I think scoring runs is fairly easy, but it's the big runs really you're looking for. So Matt Critchley, whose first over cost just 5, and those 2 wickets as well, comes in with his leg breaks once more and bowls. Stubbs pushes forward out into the covers for a single. 2 from 2 now, Tristan Stubbs. That knock you were talking about, or we were talking about, against Essex early on in this competition is so far his highest score, 69 odd out from 42. He got a 41 a couple of games ago against Kent at the Utilita, which Hampshire won. Now, there's a slug sweep up in the air. This could be caught at deep mid-wicket. It will be caught, surely, and it is. Safe pair of hands. Is that Snater out there?
Yeah, it looks like it.
And Weatherly bangs the bat hard on his pad, just didn't get hold of that at all, and he goes for 34, and Hampshire are now 5 down for 93.
Yeah, that's a bit of a problem for Hampshire now. 3 very quick wickets have gone down, and there's quite a lot of work for the visitors to do. And Essex in this very important game. It looks a pretty good pitch, but Hampshire have found a way of losing wickets, and some very good bowling changes here by Simon Harmer. Interestingly, they've not included himself yet. He has not yet bowled. We've had 7 bowlers, and so Harmer's going to be the 8th choice. Of course, his own choice, but he'd be quite pleased with the way that the other ones are going, notably Matt Critchley. And it is quite extraordinary. I think he got 5 for 9 in the championship at Southampton, and here he's got 3 for 6. And they're just not reading him at the moment. 3 for 6 in 8 balls.
And already his best figures of the season in this competition, 2 for 36 before today. It's probably about the furthest boundary on the ground, and even that's not huge. Down in the corner here, away to our right, just in front of the pavilion. So new batter is James Fuller, who's, well, he's a big striker of the ball, likes to get on with it, but he's in the 10th over. Here's Critchley, bowl, slower ball, and he's cut and missing that one. It's bounced a little bit, not taken cleanly by Pepper. Did he edge it?
There's definite bounce there for Critchley, isn't there? I wonder if he did get a bit of an edge on there. I was just
looking at Critchley's reaction. 3 for 6 off 9 balls. Wow. Coming in again and bowls, and Fuller's playing a miss in there. Just watching this delivery, and it's just bounced a bit. It may have gripped. It didn't really turn. Might just have gripped.
It's been extraordinary, this from Critchley. He's had a pretty quiet competition by his standards.
Today, short. Fuller works that to mid-wicket, doesn't time that one. And that's a dot ball. Well, it's 1 run off this over so far, with 1 wicket, with 1 ball to spare, and then we're halfway through the Hampshire innings. As Critchley comes in again, and the sweep shot there from Fuller. A couple of bounces out to deep back with a square leg. He's going to keep the strike. And Hampshire after 10 overs, 94 for 5. It's been 10 overs which have been Essex's.
Absolutely. And as you mentioned, he's got this great record against Hampshire this season, but he has had a relatively quiet campaign, Matt Critchley, but put it mildly, he's coming up with the goods this evening, and this little spell he's produced here, you know, it could be, even at this early stage, it could be match winning, because it looks like the sort of pitch where if you've got a sort of 160, 170 target, you can pace it without having to worry sort of too much.
It doesn't feel enough tonight.
No. So it is interesting that we haven't seen Harmer. Maybe he doesn't feel he's needed at the moment. But anyway, 94 for 5. And it's going to be Snater with 2 for 20. And we're in the 11th over. And he bowls, and that's driven away and nicely stopped on the bounce at extra cover. Crowd quite animated now, with plenty to applaud from an Essex perspective. And that good bit of fielding was done by none other than Matt Critchley, who has well, he's increased his wickets tally. I think he started with 6. He's gone to 9 now for the campaign. Here's this hit in the air, going out towards the wicket and well over. That's a good hit from Fuller. And it's cleared the man at deep mid wicket and gone into the public seats in front of the apartments. Short boundary out there.
I think that's out the ground, isn't it?
Yeah, very, very good strike. And this is the issue. If Hampshire don't get something up beyond 180, they're going to have to be very, very careful about the scoring opportunities they offer to that side of the ground, because it doesn't take much of a hit to send the ball out of the ground.
It doesn't, and that's disappeared through the trees there. I don't think anybody's even bothering with that one. I haven't seen anybody move towards that area. Everybody's just said, that's gone, forget it, let's get a new ball. Wow, that's a good strike, even to the short boundary side.
Yeah, there's certainly plenty of firepower in the Hampshire batting, but as you said, Kevin, perhaps they peaked a bit early this year. They're used to coming up on the rail. That's why they get all these away ties, because they come through and finish in the old South group of 9. They finish 3rd or 4th, and then they knock over a group winner in a quarter-final away from home. This year it's been a bit different. We've seen the perennial group winners of Warwickshire. They've been struggling in the Central and West group. Snater bowls. This is hit in the air. It's going up towards long off. Is it going to be enough carry for 6? It will be, I think. Yes. Just for a moment, I was wondering if Fuller had got enough bat on that, but he had. He's a very fine striker of the ball. It went a long way up, but the critical thing was it went the distance. Long on and long off were both interested for quite a long while there, but it bisected them into the black tarpaulin, and Fuller gets a second maximum, 106 for 5.
I think it's gone over. It's gone over the...
Really?
Again, you know, initially when he hit that, I didn't think he'd hit that. I didn't think that came anywhere near out the middle of the bat, but they are short boundaries, straight as well as square on the left-hand side as we look, and that's still gone over the side screen.
Well, Fuller's one of these guys, I guess, if he's able to spend time at the crease and he's still batting in the 18th over, Hampshire's position will be much improved.
I mean, you know, sometimes you think, well, actually, okay, they've lost a lot of wickets, but I mean, you know, Fuller doesn't hang around. You just hope that he does tonight. 106
for 5. Yeah, obviously Hampshire need to make sure they bat the overs, but certainly a couple of sixes have helped the cause there. 2 short thirds as Snater bowls, and that's clicked into a big gap on the onside out towards deep wicket. Sensible cricket actually there from Fuller. A conventional shot out of the 2 sixes. Takes the single, goes to 14. Stubbs has a strike on 2. 107 for 5. But it has been the Matt Critchley show with those 3 wickets. Doubtless he'll continue bowling. And interesting to see when Simon Harmer and how Simon Harmer comes into the equation. 11th over. This one is run down off an open face down towards Walter, who's the square of the 2 short thirds, and there's no run. 107 for 5. Very good crowd. It has been a sellout for a while this game.
How many's a sellout here?
Oh, it's up around, I think it's up around, I need to get the exact number. It's normally up around 6, I think. As this is, oh, beauty, a beauty which bowls him. He's playing down the wrong line. And that is another wicket for Snater. It's Snater and Critchley who have done the business this evening. That one appeared to move late. It's gone through the gate of Stubbs. And Stubbs and Cartwright have caused a lot less of a problem tonight than they did in the reverse fixture. But he's been getting some movement, Snater, and Critchley at the other end has been getting some bounce and turn. And so far, that has been enough for Essex against Hampshire this evening, with those 2 bowlers doing the job. But a cracking delivery from Snater, an over that's gone for a couple of 6s, and again he's played through the gate. It's late movement, it's an off cutter, and it's knocked out middle stump. 107 for 6.
Yeah, I think he's got a little inside edge on that as well.
Yeah,
that's way away from the body. It has come back a fraction, but I think he's been helped with an inside edge. That is a very, very big wicket indeed, and Hampshire have lost 6 wickets now. We're into the 11th over, and now we are starting to get into the bowlers who also bat. Scott Curry, the next man in. This is a problem now because you're relying so much on James Fuller, and with so much of this innings still to go.
107 for 6 after 11. That was the last ball of the 11th over, and guess what? Critchley is going to continue.
Well, it'd be unusual if he didn't. So, James Fuller now has a lot of work to do. As Critchley bowls, Fuller pulls that away. It's in the air, but safe, and he's found the gap away to the pavilion, and that's raced into the advertising boards. Fuller moves on to 18. I mean, the scoring rate is absolutely not a problem at all. What is the problem is the amount of wickets.
It just shows how many runs appear to be in the pitch, but there has been movement and bounce.
Critchley bowls. Fuller gets an inside edge there. It certainly wasn't meant to go out square on the leg side. They jog through for a single. 112 for 6 in the 12th. Fuller's 19 from 10. But yeah, there's just a little bit in this pitch, but it's coming on nicely. Short boundaries, fast outfield. It's set up for a big score, but I'm not sure Hampshire are going to get there. Reverse sweep there from Curry. Comes off the keeper. It's well stopped at first slip. Very nearly sneaked through. Walter at first slip there, diving to his left. Don't think Curry got a bat on it. Might just have come off the keeper's pad. Critchley again. Only has to turn his arm over, Critchley. Nice push drive there from Curry up to deep mid-off. He's off the mark. 113 for 6. So much of this Hampshire innings now relies on James Fuller. If he gets out soonish, then Hampshire really are just batting out the overs with no real threat. Not as much threat as they would like anyway. And off the back foot there, Fuller plays it back to the bowler. Critchley in his third over here, 3 for 13, terrific figures.
Well, it's a very interesting pitch, isn't it? Because there's plenty of runs out there, but genuinely has been helpful for the bowlers as well.
That's right, it has. And Fuller just quietly pushes forward there, not taking any chances. Critchley has landed the ball on a sixpence there. 113 for 6, 12 gone.
So the optimistic scenario for Essex tonight is I reckon they can qualify if they win and Kent, Lancashire and Durham all lose. Well, Kent aren't doing terribly well at Canterbury, 102 all out against Surrey in that one, so that's going to be almost certainly the end of Kent for this particular season in the campaign. Jordan Clark taking 3 for 26, 2 wickets for Dan Lawrence and 2 for Chris Jordan. And we'll keep an eye on those games in the North Group. The Roses match, Lancashire and Yorkshire. Lancashire 127 for 2 on the 13th, but you feel that Yorkshire have the stronger batting side of the two. The one big difference is if Liam Livingstone comes off, and he's 60 off 38 balls for Lancashire, so he could be making a difference tonight. 128 for 2, Lancashire in the Roses match in the 13th over. And here is Bennett, first ever went for 12. This is hit away in the air and is brilliantly taken right-handed at mid-on. That's a fantastic catch, and that is the end of Scott Curry. And nothing could go wrong for Essex tonight after Sunday when it all rather went wrong. Mackenzie Jones there has stretched out a hand and it's stuck, and that is a 7th Hampshire wicket. It's just been one of those evenings for Essex in the field. I think at the time he hit it, Curry probably thought he was just going to get away with that, but he stuck out a hand and the catch has been taken, and Bennett has a wicket, and it's 113 for 7.
Yeah, it's one of those where you know it's your night, because they normally just evade the fielder. I mean, look at that. He's a good 3 feet off the ground when he takes that. Well, no wonder he's run away and celebrating. That reminds me of Ronnie Irani a few years ago.
Well, after a bad day on Sunday, Essex have really come right back to their best here. They're bang in charge of this game at the moment. Andrew Neil is coming out, 113 for 7, but my word,
he's taken off like a high jumper that turns and does the Fosbury.
Brilliant take that from Mackenzie Jones. So it gives Bennett a wicket as well. He's going to bowl to Neil, and Neil will get one. There's just a bit of movement there, and he just plays defensively up into the offside, and there's no run. But yes, Hampshire, say, we're used to seeing them sort of come through late and get those away quarter-finals, but there's just a little bit of concern that they just appear to be stuttering a little bit, and there's still a chance that Essex, Surrey and Hampshire could all end on 28 points, and it's not absolutely out of the question that Essex could potentially, they'd have to beat Surrey, and Surrey would have to lose their last game, but they could still even win the group ridiculously. 113 for 7. This is a short ball, an attempted pull shot, but it's signalled as a wide. Pepper was trying to encourage the umpire to give that as an out, but he went for the appeal, but it was down the leg side and there was no contact from Neil. 114 for 7. Difficult one for Neil. He's got a lot of overs to bat.
Well, they both have, and you've got to keep the scoreboard ticking along, but you're going to miss out on an awful lot of runs here.
Liam Livingstone out for 60 in the Roses match. 114 for 7, Hampshire in the 13th over, as that's banged in just a little bit back of a length, and attempt to play that just wide of water at backward point is not successful, but Essex really have got the bit between the teeth this evening. It was strange what happened on Sunday. Don't think there was a complacency of any sort, but after a great performance at home, this is very much reminiscent of that. They came back down to earth against Middlesex on Sunday, but very much back into their best form here. And it's well, everyone has contributed apart from Harmer's not had a chance to bowl. Well, hasn't given himself a chance yet. This one is driven away back down the ground by Neil, and well stopped there by Bennett in his follow through. His first over went for 12. A lot less pressure on him now bowling to Neil, and he's just conceded a run and taken a wicket in his second over. 114 for 7.
This could end up being a wicket maiden.
Indeed. 114 for 7, and well, yeah, we've just had the wide, haven't we? It was the only run that has been scored. Was going along quite well for Hampshire until those 2 wickets and an over from Critchley, and that's what really was a turning point in this innings. 114 for 7. This is driven away. Good looking drive that actually from Neil. Conventional off drive, but straight to mid off and no run. So one more ball and Bennett will have bowled a wicket maiden but for the wide. And certainly has bowled a very good second over here.
Yeah, 49-run partnership between Mays and Weatherly for the third wicket in 4 overs, either side of that. Wickets have fallen regularly.
Neil looking to get off the mark with his 5th delivery, being bowled by Bennett, and that one is a fuller length, and he can only drive it up to cover. In reality, it doesn't really matter much for Hampshire, the fact that there were 5 dot balls there, because that's not really the issue at the moment. It's trying to keep wickets in hand, and Neil just playing himself in, but at least he's got the strike with Fuller. Can Hampshire find a way up to 150, 155? It's going to depend on Fuller, surely. He's 19, Neil no score, 13 overs, 114 for 7.
Yeah, it just feels as though when the ball's moved, it's picked a wicket. When it's gripped a little bit for Critchley, he's picked up a wicket. It's just been one of those nights that Hampshire just haven't really had any luck at all. But don't take it away from Essex, they've bowled superbly. They've just kept the ball there or thereabouts and just waited for Hampshire to make the odd mistake. Simon Harmer is finally coming on.
Yeah.
I thought he might have been injured. So Jordan Cox not playing, Simon Harmer injured, and yet we're still struggling here. Here's Harmer then around the wicket, and he's cutting and missing there. Here's Fuller. That's way outside the stump. Well, look at, I tell you what, if you're watching that on the live picture feed, that to me, I'd love to see that again, whether that's a wide or not. It's not called anyway. And it's a fall through, and he's bowled. Is he LBW?
Yeah.
Well, Harmer was asking something, and Fuller has tried to sweep a full delivery, and he goes for 19, and now Hampshire really are in trouble. If they weren't before.
Yeah, it looked like it was a fair way forward going on the sweep, but I'm not even sure if it had bounced or it was very, very full, and not too much doubt from the umpire there. So, well, Essex got up from 69 for 8 to 142 on Sunday, but Hampshire are going to have to do something fairly similar here. But the problem is, it's Fuller that's out, so they're really running out of batters now, aren't they? 114 for 8, and looking at that one from Harmer again, going around the wicket. Yeah, I was thinking it got to hit him on the full, and the umpire saying that was going to go on. He wasn't going to have too much further to travel, and probably hit middle and off stump. But 114 for 8. And well, Hampshire, it's been a rocky few games for them, and going to have to do awfully well to try and find a way out of this one.
Yeah, it looks pretty out, doesn't it? I mean, he hasn't even pitched. The umpire hasn't got to make a decision about what it might do after the ball's pitched. It's hit him low down on the pad. Chris Wood is the new batter.
So it's going to be Harmer to bowl to Wood, and that's driven almost straight back to Harmer. Only just pitched short of him. Well, Harmer's been very generous here and letting everybody else have a go, hasn't he? And he's finally got him in on the action himself. It's his 11th wicket of the campaign. 14th over. There's a very unusually, there's a short mid-on in, as this one is played to Critchley, who's at mid-wicket, and Wood stays on naught, but Hampshire suddenly runless and in an awful lot of trouble here, and we're a bit worried about their net run rate as well, as this is just played away on the bounce up towards short mid-on. So we've got a short mid-on and mid-wicket just going back to a more conventional position, maybe still a little bit short. There's a mid-off and a short third. This is driven away and goes away up towards long off. And there's a single, but not too many runs here available now for Hampshire. It's been a brilliant performance this from Essex, 115 for 8. Dominated by Critchley and Snater, but Harmer getting in on the act. Bennett has a wicket as well. 115 for 8, still 6 overs to go.
Well, one run off the bat in the last 2 overs and a couple of wickets. I mean, Hampshire are going to have to play this like a 4-day game now to bat out the overs, not take any chances whatsoever, and limp to whatever score they get. I mean, this has just got worse as things have gone on, really.
So Bennett's going to continue. And the crowd getting a bit noisier. Plenty to celebrate, the home fans.
They better order some more beers quick, because this game's going to be all over quick the way things are going.
Now here's Bennett, 1 for 13 in 2 overs. He's up to the wicket, he bowls. That's hit in the air and just over mid-on, and that will go down to the boundary for 4. The outfield really is very quick, which is now probably bad news for Hampshire. That was hit pretty well by Wood over mid-on. But, well, very hard to see how Hampshire can get back into this one. 119 for 8. Wood, plenty of experience, but not that accustomed to coming in what the 14th over as he did. 119 for 8. Here's Bennett again. Bowls, that's a little bit shorter, and it's cut away. It goes through where a first slip would have been. Would have been a straightforward catch to a slip, but there was none, and in the end, pretty good placement from Wood, who's having to do the work of the batters here. He's gone to 9, 123 for 8, but good placement from him. Used the bounce, and just a little late cut through where slip would be for 4.
It's only the 3rd time he's batted in this year's competition.
Yeah,
Won the game for them against Yorkshire with 4 and a 6 in the last 3 balls.
Yeah, it tells a bit of a story, doesn't it? As this next one is a bouncer and signalled as a wide, so Bennett there looking to see if he could adduce a hook shot and maybe a catch in Medit, but the umpire signals against him. 124 for 8. Wood on 9 and Neil no score, with terrific performance, particularly from Critchley and Snater, but everyone has effectively bowled well. And it's been a real problem for Hampshire after being in a pretty decent position with the 3rd wicket pair together. Oh, it's bowled him! It's another wicket. It's Bennett this time. It's a well pitched up ball. It was a bit of a loose shot from Wood. He was trying to crash it down the ground, but it was too full for the shot, and middle stump is lying back at an angle, and Essex will be absolutely delighted with this performance because, as I say, there are potential net run rate implications at this late stage of the competition. If they can win this well, it'll affect both sides. Sonny Baker, who didn't play in the championship match here, is coming out to bat. He's going to have to work wonders later on. But 124 for 9 in the 15th over is the remarkable thing. And it just underlines that there have been runs out there, but there have also been wickets, and Essex have really bowled extremely well.
Well, I'm trying to find some positives. The only one I can think of at the moment is I'm going to get home before 2 o'clock in the morning tonight.
But Snater 3 for 33, Critchley 3 for 13, 2 for Bennett, 1 for Harmer. And I say the really significant thing for Essex at this late stage. You mentioned Essex's net run rate is nothing special. It was coming into this game. It was plus 0.1. And they could get outgunned, particularly if they were to lose this game, by other sides on 24 points if they win one of the last 2. But at the moment, this looks like not just being a win, but potentially it could be a big win. But of course, we have to wait to see both sides bat. Baker is on strike, and he hits this in the air. It's going up towards deep mid wicket, and it's going to fall just short. And well, in the end they just took the 1 run. They were looking to see if the catch was going to be taken. It was up in the air for an awful long time, but it was Thane and Mackenzie Jones who were interested in it, but it bounced short, I think, of Thane in the end, and scooped away. And Baker survives on 1, and Neil still looking to get off the mark with his 6th delivery coming up at 125 for 9.
There's not too many areas on that short boundary side where you're going to get away without being caught. He somehow managed to find about the only area.
125 for 9 as Bennett bowl. That's well pitched up. Ooh, I thought that might be on its way through again, but Neil does finally get off the mark, hitting that one down towards deep square leg and collecting a single. So we mentioned there have been a couple of 8-wicket wins for Essex in recent years on this ground, actually with bigger totals, I think, to chase, but it's got the feel of another one of those at the moment, Kevin, unless something dramatic happens for Hampshire here.
At least 8.
126 for 9 as Bennett bowls, and that's just a little push shot up into the onside. A very sensible stroke from Baker, actually, just pushing the ball up for 1 up towards long on. And well, I think one of my feelings about the championship match between the 2 sides was when Porter was involved in that last wicket stand, that had Baker been playing, he might have got Porter out and made the difference in the game. Can he make the difference in this game? It's going to be a much bigger ask, but we're going to see him bowl later on. I think there is something in the pitch for him, but surely he hasn't got enough runs to work with. 127 for 9, Baker 2 and Neil 1.
Yeah, exactly that. Exactly that. There will be some wickets, or there should be some wickets when Hampshire bowl, but in between time the runs will flow. But have Hampshire got anywhere near enough? Doesn't feel it. Palmer off.
Yeah, he's letting Critchley bowl last
nice.
over.
It's nice of him. Was leading edge there, and Baker will get a single as the ball trickles up towards deep mid-off. He was trying to work that away on the leg side. You can't ask these guys to do too much. Any runs from here is a bonus. And 28 for 9 in the 16th. Plenty of time. 29 balls remaining in the innings. That's a cut away through extra cover. Might run 2 here. They will run 2 as it goes out to deep extra cover. Neil moves on to 3. That's the 130 up for Hampshire. It is runs on the board. You've always got to think positively as a team. There's runs there, but Hampshire will need at least the same amount of luck in the field that Essex have enjoyed on top of their good bowling. It's a length ball which is pushed out into the covers by Neil. But everything you feel will have to go their way, and some, when they come out to have a bowl. As Critchley bowls again, and Neil just plays that good length delivery out into the covers. It does feel like a 4-day game.
Yeah.
Some of these balls now that are being bowled and the way the batters are playing, they can't afford really to do anything silly. Critchley bowls short. It's pulled up in the air. This should be the wicket. It's going out towards deep mid-wicket. Snater waits and takes the catch, and that is the end of the Hampshire innings. Coming towards the end of the 16th over, they've been bowled out for 130. Neil goes for 3. I just felt the ball kicked up a little bit there. He got right underneath it, and Hampshire, I'm afraid, just lost wicket after wicket after wicket. Only that partnership of 49 for the 3rd wicket in 4 overs between Ben Mays and Joe Weatherly ever really put Essex under pressure. Other than that, it was just a procession of wickets.
Yeah, and a terrific performance by Essex. We had 8 bowlers used, of which Simon Harmer was the 8th. He got 1 for 1. But Matt Critchley's 4 for 16. It's not his best in T20. He's got 5 for 28, but it was an absolutely brilliant performance, and it was that over when he got 2 wickets in his first over that really put the skids on Hampshire, and they never really recovered. Shane Snater 3 for 33 and Charlie Bennett 2 for 25. Very, very clear that there's plenty in it for the bowlers, but there's also plenty of runs. It looks like a cracking T20 pitch that offers something to both batters and bowlers. And you know, if Hampshire had got another 45, 50 runs here, they probably feel that they're in with a reasonable chance. But Essex now have the advantage of being able to pace their innings almost at 50 over pace, knowing of course what the target is, and therefore presumably they will just eschew risk a little bit, because that's what got them into trouble on Sunday when they were 69 for 8. Lots and lots of very good catches in the outfield for Middlesex in that one, Kevin. I'm sure Essex won't make the mistake there. That's the one way they could get into trouble. I think it's going to have to just calculated risk, decent power play, and they should be able to win this fairly comfortably and improve the net run rate.
Well, that's the interesting thing for me is how Essex approach this, because they don't need to go silly. They don't need to go hard at it. They don't need to play a sort of shot that James Vids did early on in their innings, heaving across the line. But will they actually take it on and say, do you know what, let's go for broke here a little bit, let's really go for it, win the game and get our run rate as high as possible. So it might be that they come at Hampshire hard. I'm sure they'll come at Hampshire hard anyway, but will they come that little bit harder? We'll have to wait and see. Right, we'll take a break, shall we?
Yeah, certainly 2 ways of looking at that, aren't there? It's very interesting, but I think they'll want to be better shot calculation than the 69 for 8 against Middlesex. They won't want to be there again.
Right, so we're going to take a quick break here at Chelmsford, and we'll be back with you shortly for the Essex reply.
Ah, dear. Well, welcome back to the county ground. A lovely evening as ever, of course, here with blue sky and high cloud. It hasn't changed much. The floodlights just starting to take effect. But it's been a fantastic performance by Essex here to bowl Hampshire out inside 16 overs for 130. And Hampshire were going along reasonably well at one point with their third wicket pair, but then Matt Critchley took 2 and an over, and I say that really put the skids under Hampshire. And Snater and Critchley with 3 and 4 wickets respectively, the others chipping in, Charlie Bennett getting a couple, and an outstanding performance from Essex in the field. They took the catches that were on offer, whatever was available, they grabbed hold of, notably Mackenzie Jones with a very, very impressive one-handed catch that he had to jump up for late on. And now we're wondering what the Essex approach will be, because obviously their net run rate is nothing special, but there is still an outside chance with the way this game is going. And I can tell you that Surrey are bang on top against Kent. We'll give you the key other scores in a moment. But there is a chance that if Essex can beat Surrey, they might even be in with half a chance of being at the top of the group. I mean, it would have to be a pretty big win, because Surrey are going to win big tonight. But interesting to see how they approach this, Kevin.
Well, it is, yeah. That for me, that's about the only interesting part of this, really. I mean, they should win this and should win it fairly comfortably. But I mean, we've all seen things go wrong. I mean, it might go wrong, but interesting what the chat would have been in the Essex dressing room. But I must reiterate to Hampshire followers, don't panic, because there's still another chance of finishing top of the group on Sunday, even if they don't win here today. Absolutely,
and of course Hampshire are already definitely through. Here's Wood bowling outside the off stump, and Water leaves it alone, so the very first indication is a more conservative approach, but I'm sure that's one ball is not a big enough sample to make a judgment. But 131 to win, and what a turnaround, given that on Sunday Essex scraped 142, having been 69 for 8, and they've done that to their opposition, got them down to what you would thought would be a well below par score. We do have a slip in. This is flicked away by Walter along the ground for a single out towards deep square leg. Huge cheer from the crowd, hoping for a misfield, but it doesn't happen. That's going to be a regular occurrence, I think, for the next hour. 1 for no wicket. It's Walter and Pepper, and both have had their moments in the competition. Walter particularly against Sussex, but it's going to be Michael Pepper on strike now.
Well, there's a little bit of swing there for Chris Wood, or certainly was the first delivery, so that's a little bit of hope. But just some quick calculations during the break. Come back to that in a minute.
So Wood up to the wicket bowls. It's just driven away for a single just wide of Mays at mid-wicket, and it goes to 2 for no wicket.
They lost 8 wickets, or they lost 8 wickets for 54 runs in 7 overs.
28 points for a side finishing second would probably not be enough to get the best second place, and therefore a home tie. The best second place side will get a home tie along with the 3 group winners. Here is Wood bowls, and that's hit in the air. Oh, that's a full shot there from Walter, suggesting that there is something in it for the bowlers, and that one just fell short of cover. It's 2 for no wicket.
Isn't that a little bit too early there, Walter?
Certainly it appears to be an element of maybe the pitch being too paced. There's been a bit of movement, and if Hampshire just were able to take a few wickets here, we might have to reassess things. But of course Essex do have the advantage of knowing they've only got to get 131 in 20 overs, and Walter again plays a full shot here up towards mid-off, really indicating that there is something there, and he's not going to take any undue risks at this point, because I think that was a change of mind shot, and in the end just playing it quietly out to Vincent mid-off.
Again, he's playing too early.
Yeah.
Suggesting that the ball was just holding in the turf a little bit, which wasn't the case actually in the first few overs of the Hampshire. It seemed to have come on really nice.
So here is Wood again. Bowls, that's a good delivery, a bit of swing there outside the off stump. Yeah, interesting. So far on our very early sample of 1 over, Essex are not going to do anything daft, but if they get balls they can hit, and of course there is that short boundary away to the left, and of course that is something that could well count against Hampshire as time goes on. But that was a very good first over. 2 for no wicket, Walter and Pepper 1 apiece.
Yeah, you can just see that on the picture feed. Simon Walter, Paul Walter, just sort of saying, you know, look, He's making some sort of gestures there about the pitch, probably feeling the ball's not quite come on there.
Surrey are 54 for 1 in the 5th over, 1 ball into the 5th over, chasing 103 at Canterbury. So it's really a question of how many overs are they going to take, and certainly if they win that game and Hampshire lose here, Surrey will be top of the table. They'll both be on 28 points, but Surrey's net run rate will be very much boosted.
Sonny Baker back into the side from the Graham Gooch end, right arm quick, and Pepper's beaten for pace, somehow worked it down to third man below us and got 4, but he was very late on that one. 4 runs it is. Essex move on to 6 without loss.
Just the early indications are that if Hampshire had got 165, 170, there might be something. It's just the fact that 130 surely isn't going to be enough, but of course there have been occasions like stodgy old pitches at Bristol where 130 is a pretty good score.
Well,
but
that's right.
This one is the exact opposite of that.
Yeah.
There's runs and there's potentially wickets.
Baker running from the 30-yard circle at the far end of the ground as we look, comes towards us, bowls to Pepper. Pepper trying to play that through the offside, full delivery, quick through to Albert, plays and misses.
Pepper 250 runs, he got a couple of 50, strike rate of 148, and he's been a pretty consistent performer. Has pretty good record in white ball, and of course very quickly got to the attention of the franchise teams.
Striking at 147 this year per 100, 148 career, so he's pretty much doing what it says on the tin as Baker bowls, length ball, that's driven quickly through point, 4 runs, past the diving Joe Weatherly. Wide full delivery there from Baker.
Yeah, it's a pretty good shot, again pretty quick, but got good bat on it, and boundaries useful for Essex at this stage. Yes, back in 2022 he made 75 not out from 42 balls when Essex won by 8 wickets, so he'd be looking to a repeat of that. He certainly is a very dangerous player, and in the absence of the likes of Cox, he's one of perhaps the most dangerous batters in the Essex side.
10 without loss, 9 balls gone as Baker comes in again and bowls short, and he ducks underneath that one. It's not called a wide. Didn't feel as though it quite got up as much as it could have done. To be fair, Pepper had to duck underneath it as much as anything.
Some side, obviously Hampshire at the moment not ending the competition well. It's interesting that Somerset, who are out of their group for much of a time, like the proverbial bad penny, are coming up on the rails at the right time from their point of view. I say that because they're the one side I guess the other teams won't want to see getting to finals day.
They looked unbelievable against us, first game of the season. Baker in again to Pepper, 10 without loss, bowls, length ball, Pepper works that away to point, this time it goes straight to Weatherly.
Yeah, funnily enough, I think Northampton have only lost against Somerset and nobody else, and that might be happening tonight because Somerset chasing 163 at Taunton, a 69 for no wicket in the 5th over, so it's very much the old Somerset that are peaking at the right time, and if they win this game and their last one, 28 points might be enough for a top 3 place in the Central and West group, and that didn't look likely a couple of games ago.
Do you think we're going to find out potentially some other teams qualifying?
We'll have a bit more of an idea of the lie of the land, hopefully, as time goes on.
Baker into Pepper once more and bowls, length ball. Pepper plays and misses outside the off stump. Baker falls flat on his face, and that's the end of the over. Looked like Pepper was doing a complete flat-faced dive there into the pitch after he bowled that one. 10 without loss, 2 gone.
It's interesting, obviously, the way that Snater was hitting the stumps. We had a few clean bowls, didn't we? Perhaps one off an inside edge, but I think if Hampshire have got any remote chance here, Baker, you feel, needs to strike, and it wouldn't surprise me if he bowls his 4 overs straight off, because someone with his pace and calibre, it might be a risk worth taking for James Vince. But the one thing that at least Hampshire have not let Essex get away at this early stage is Wood bowls, and that's hit away into the offside. There's Weatherly, they're going to get through for a quick single, and it goes to 11 for no wicket. So the one thing we can be pretty confident about tonight is that Surrey are going to win this game, and assuming that Hampshire lose this, Surrey will go top of the group alongside Hampshire on 28 points, but with a superior net run rate. And just having a look at those other key games in the North Group from the Essex perspective. As Wood bowls, and that's a ramp, and it goes away over short fine leg and goes all the way for 6. And Pepper is a very dangerous batter, an audacious shot, just using the pace that's available in the pitch, and just had to clear short fine leg and did it very well. We saw a few of those sorts of shots in the first part of the Hampshire innings, but of course they didn't have a licence to play them later on.
No, he's just banked on that being a length ball, played it really well, just used the pace, held the bat there.
Here's Wood again, bowls, and it's just run down towards short third. They get through for a single, so not too much risk so far from the Essex batters. There's been no sort of, I think they know there's something in the pitch here for the bowlers, and they're just choosing which delivery to try and attack here. And I think it's working quite well. I mean, Walter, for example, the other day was trying to have a go at everything, and I think he got to 22 but never looked convincing. He's looking to play himself in a bit here, I think, and here's another example of that. He just plays a short arm jab sort of drive without timing back down the pitch, and the bowler, Chris Wood, field. So 18 for no wicket, Walter 2, and Pepper is there on 16 after Hampshire were bowled out for 130 with plenty of time to spare. And they've certainly got their work cut out here, have the visitors, and that's well pitched up, and Walter on the drive sends it away for 4 to a deep mid-wicket boundary. That was slightly over pitched, and he was able to latch onto it, but again no real risk in the shot. It was along the ground, and it's calculated aggression you feel from this pair without taking undue risk. That one was quite over pitched on leg stump, sent away by Walter. He goes to 6, 22 for no wicket in the third.
Yeah, the first couple of balls from Chris Wood that swung, the swing seems to have gone already.
Here's Wood again up to the wicket from the Alistair Cook end bowls, and that is a slightly wilder shot from Walter, but he gets it away over short third for 4. The first one that perhaps had an element of risk, he thought it was there to try and club that over mid-wicket for 6. It went in the exact opposite direction, almost flying away off the outside edge, but it had enough to go over short third and away for 4. So 2 useful boundaries for Paul Walter. He's gone to 10 from 9, 26 for no wicket, chasing 131. We've had 3 overs.
Yeah, that could have absolutely gone anywhere. That, I thought initially it had gone straight down short third man's throat, but it was well to his right. And Sonny Baker will continue from the Sir Graham Gooch end. That's the far end as we look.
Just in the Durham-Derbyshire game, really Essex want Derbyshire to win this. Durham won 65 for 7, Derbyshire 63 for 2 in the 9th, so that's pretty tight. 103 needed off 69.
Donald gone there.
Have a look at that one.
Baker in, bowls to Pepper. Pepper pulls, misses, goes through to Toby Albert on the second bounce.
Donald only made 8, but 166, I think it's at Chesterfield Street, that one, for Derbyshire. Derbyshire's hopes have more or less effectively gone now, but it'd be very useful from an Essex point of view if they were to win that, and also if Yorkshire were to win the Roses match. And they've got a bit of a target because Lancashire made 216 for 6 in their 20 overs. Liam Livingston 60.
Baker into Pepper once more, past the umpire. Pepper charges, gets an edge, flies away over third man, over Scott Curry, who's up on the 30-yard circle, and that is absolutely raced into the boundary boards to our left.
So
that's 2 false shots.
Yeah,
but they're not finding the fielders.
Creating something. There's something in it for Baker, as there has been for the seamers, but he hasn't getting any luck so far.
26 without loss. So actually it should be 30, I think. I think that's got stuck. Yeah, 30. And we're in the 4th over. So they've knocked 30 of the 131 they need. Baker with that little skip at the top of his mark, in again. Bowls Pepper. Pepper gives himself some room, gets tucked up, and it bounces, follows him. And in the end, he's played that so late, it's gone through to Albert along the floor.
Got a result in. That's Gloucestershire beating Worcestershire by 2 wickets. That one's at Worcester. It was a 5:30 start, and it's a good win for Gloucestershire. Takes them up to 28 points in the Central and West group.
They're going to qualify, aren't they?
Yeah, well, 28 points. That's you would think is going to give them a great chance of being in the top 3 of that group.
Was it 2 years ago they won the competition? It was, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
Surprised everybody. Pepper pushes a length ball up to mid-on, going to take a quick single. 31 without loss.
You remember we were at Southampton for the last round of group games, and it was a very, very tight game. It was one that Hampshire won. Essex therefore didn't qualify, and Gloucestershire did. They were all listening to us from a remote location, and they got through, and I think they beat Warwickshire. They had pitches that suited them, I think, from that point onwards, and they won it. It was a much better T20 surface last year, of course, that final between Hampshire and Somerset.
It's one of those peculiar years where they certainly weren't the best team even in the South group, and yet they went on to win it. Right, 2 balls left of over number 4. Baker's 0 for 13 from 10. He's going to be bowling for the first time to the left-hander, tall left-hander Paul Walter. In he comes, he's got a slip, and Walter drives, it goes to mid-wicket where it's fielded by Ben Mays. And there's a slip and a short third man, and it looks like there's a slip and a third slip really, because Baker's bowling with real pace. Scott Curry at first slip, who actually has just been taken out, was literally on the 30-yard circle. He's now been taken out to short fine, and Chris Wood looked like he was at third slip because he was fielding at short third man on the 30-yard circle. Well, Baker's hurrying the batters, but hasn't quite picked up that breakthrough that Hampshire desperately need. As he's into Walter. Walter gives himself some room, low full toss, and he works that away on the leg side. Almost like he was beaten for pace there a little bit.
I think there has just been that one slightly wild shot from Walter, which is trying to hit for 6 over mid-wicket that went to third man. But I think the evidence so far is that these two, there is a bit of calculation in the batting here. They will, of course, with wickets in hand, speed towards their target as time goes on. But I think they're just wary of the threat from the seamers, and so far has not been any luck for them. But well, required rate 6.2. That's not going to be too much of a problem. 99 to win, and a very strong position here for Essex after that surprise defeat on Sunday to possibly get back to winning ways. Looks like Notts are going to beat Leicestershire, which you would expect. 56 for 1 in the 7th, chasing 144. Here's Curry coming into bowl. That's a pull drive and is dropped. Now that's dropped at mid-wicket, and all the other catches were taken earlier on. They've scampered through for a single. Essex didn't drop any, and Hampshire have dropped one at the first time of asking, unfortunately there for James Fuller.
Yeah, it was low down. He had to dive in front of him. It wasn't the easiest, but he got both hands on it. It just seemed to go through the hands.
There's a difference already. Some very difficult catches for Essex that were taken. That wasn't a straightforward one, but it's been put down. So 33 for no wicket, with Pepper now on strike, a single having been taken for Walter, and that one is just driven with no great intent back down the pitch and fielded in his follow through. But certainly these two, 33 for no wicket in the 5th over. It's a watchful opening partnership, but as I say, they do have power to accelerate as they get closer to the target, and that might be part of the thinking here. Don't give Hampshire any route back into the game. 5 saving 1 on the offside, a mid-on and a short fine on the leg side. This is just short of a length, pulled away past short fine, who gets a hand to it and might have saved a couple of runs there, because deep backward square comes round and they've come back for a couple of runs. Pepper 23, and it's 35 for no wicket, chasing 131, and we're only in the 5th over.
Yeah, Hampshire needs something to change here a little bit.
Surrey need 1 run in 68 balls with 9 wickets in hand. You have to back them. Whew. That's going to be a big win for Surrey, who've really come good, apart from that Gloucestershire match, in the last few weeks. This is played defensively, a check of a shot there from Pepper, who I think he might have been looking to play more aggressively, and then just checked the shot and played it defensively back down the pitch. Certainly I think Hampshire are bowling well enough here. They haven't had much luck. The one catching opportunity wasn't taken, but it's an interesting approach this from this Essex opening pair. The big contrast to the slightly wild approach at times on Sunday, which left them 69 for 8, and they've taken that lesson on board. Here's Curry again, bowls. That's a short of a length one and pulled away. That's going to go down towards the long leg boundary for 4. Just a little bit short, and it allowed Pepper just to go back into his crease, and he's just got to think about the man at short fine leg, but it was well wide and well high of him, and away for 4 runs. 39 for no wicket, Pepper 27.
Yeah, it's not the length to bowl really with your fine leg up. I think he's tried to bowl a cutter there and just dropped it too short. Easy shot for Pepper really.
So here is Curry again, up to the wicket. Bowls, and it's just pushed away into the onside up towards deep square leg, and they'll go through for a single. One thing about this game is it's likely to end much earlier than would normally be the case, and therefore we probably won't have the full picture about what's going on around the country, but we'll tell you as much as we can. 40 for no wicket with Pepper 28 and Walter 12. And very, very good position here. 131 the target, 15 overs remaining.
So just to repeat, Hampshire losing their last 8 wickets for 54 runs when they were bowled out in the 16th over. They still had 25 balls that could have been bowled to them, and that's is quite a lot. That's a lot of balls. Right, Baker's going to continue. 2 overs, none for 14. He's bowled with pace. Can he beat this breakthrough? 40 without loss. That target 131. Here he is again, then bowling to the right-hander, Michael Pepper, who heaves that away on the leg side. That's gone many a mile. Just a pick up off a length. In fact, it's flat. It hasn't gone out the ground, but it's gone very flat indeed.
Well, very authoritative shot.
Actually, just looking at that again, bounced just before the rope. Didn't quite get that out the middle. I think if he had, that would have gone out of Chelmsford. 44 without loss. Pepper moves on to 32 from 19. The run rate required is under 6 and over, which on this ground in these conditions is not a lot at all. Baker bowls. Pepper gets another edge, and again it's racing away down to the 3rd man boundary below us. Oh, somebody's just run around actually, and it's 2. We can't see a good part of the outfield below us, and Scott Curry's at short third. It went over his head.
Yeah, it pitched and stopped that one virtually.
It did a bit, really. It's like a pitch onto the green, wasn't it? But there's clearly another fielder just to our right, out of shot, so apologies for that. So it's only 2. Pepper moves on to 34. The drinks are starting to have an effect here. Obviously the crowd's starting to drink a little bit quicker because they realise we're going to have a quick end.
Different atmosphere to Sunday when it was fairly sombre.
46 without loss. We're still in the power play. Pepper's bowled! And the stumps go flying there. Baker picks up the first wicket. I think he's beaten for pace there, Pepper. He's just heaved across the line, more in hope than anything, and he goes for 34, 46 for 1.
Interesting there, because we saw a bit of a shift in policy there with Pepper, because he had that. He played a brilliant shot with the stroke that went away off the first ball of the over. Then there was that very wild shot that pitched and stopped that Curry fielded, and there again he was just a little bit perhaps over aggressive with Baker on a pitch offering him something, and that probably beat him for pace. He was trying to hit it out of the ground, but that was a little bit ambitious. And interesting, Pepper there, that change of policy has undone him, because the way he was playing up to that point, he was doing pretty well, and you would have thought that there's only 9 deliveries left from Baker, and he is a danger. I'm not saying see him out, but you don't want to particularly take risks like that. Having said that, Pepper has knocked off quite a lot of his target in that opening partnership. 46 for 1 with just 85 more needed.
Charlie Allison, the young batter, walks out to the crease, 21-year-old. He's having a decent season, isn't he? Just under 280 runs in the competition to date.
Yeah, he's done very well, particularly with Cox being absent for most of the time. He's sort of possibly been the key man in filling that gap in the middle order in terms of producing runs.
He's moved up from number 4 to number 3 with Jordan Cox not in the side tonight. Striking at 137 per 100 this year's competition. Strikes around that in his career, so here's Baker, bowls, and he's gone for the Yorker. That's well played. It's played into the ground, bounces away to James Vincent mid-off.
Yeah, he's bowling well here, Baker. So it would have been interesting to see. He wasn't available for the championship game between the two sides, but certainly been impressed by what I've seen this season. Does seem to have come on, and just wants to, obviously, when he gets his international opportunities, he can just nail one of them down. It'd be really good and show what he can do, because everyone knows the capability is there.
Bowls a lot more control this year, that's for sure. And he's bowling with pace here tonight, bowling to Allison. Allison gets another full delivery, drives it into the ground. It makes its way out to Ben Mays in the covers.
Sensible batting from Allison. So Surrey with that huge win, 28 points. Their net run rate, which was around about plus 0.4 at the start of the day, is now 0.885. So it really has shot up, and they now are in the box seat. Because if they win against Essex and Hampshire win against Sussex, Hampshire are probably going to have to win reasonably big.
So Surrey have gone top, haven't they?
Yeah, and with Hampshire's net run rate will probably take a hit. So Surrey are favourites in the group at the moment.
Baker bowls a bit more straight as Allison works her way square on the leg side to get off the mark. 47 for 1. That's the power play done. 47, and after 6 overs, Hampshire had 61. I mean, they did blaze it from literally the word go, but always lost wickets regularly.
So we'll keep you posted. The women's test match, by the way, India 285 and England 21 for 1 after day 1 of 4 at Lord's. We already know that Gloucestershire...
Well, that means Maya Boucher's not out there.
Yeah, just check on how she's doing. She's on 17 from 40 balls, so she'll be back in the morning. And we already know that Gloucestershire have beaten Worcestershire by 2 wickets to go second in the Central and West group. And might be interesting to see who their last game is against, because they're now in a very good position in that group to go through with Northants. It's going to be Neil to bowl his slow left arm. That's just played away off the back foot into the open spaces. They've got 1, and they'll settle for that. Allison takes a single off Neil's first ball, and the strike is worth with Paul Walter, who's got 12 from 12 and has played in the main a very different innings to the one on Sunday. And it possibly is going to, in the end, be more productive for him. He's on strike to Neil, and he just watchfully plays it away, square into the offside, and there's no run available.
3 for 29, bowled really well in that defeat to Middlesex a couple of nights ago.
So here is Neil bowls, and that's swept away down towards the deep square leg boundary. That's a good shot from Walter. A lap shot in front of square, just off the front foot and bisecting 2 boundary fielders, and a good shot off the spin of that. 16 to Walter, 52 for 1.
My word, he's fetched that from a long way outside off stump.
Well executed, middled it. 52 for 1. That's a swing across the line. It's bouncing short of deep mid wicket, and he gets through for a single. So Walter to 17, Allison on 2, with Michael Pepper the man out.
So funny, the people that have been moving and getting up from their seats started off with bringing back water, then they came back with 1 beer, now they're all coming back with 2 beers.
Pepper made 34 from 21 balls, as this is driven nicely by Allison, but it goes through cover, and that's an extra run. It'll just be the 1, but it slightly sums up how it's gone for Hampshire today. Weatherly just that one going straight through him. It looked like it was going to be a straightforward stop in the covers, and it went through him. And there's an extra run. 54 for 1, 131 the target. We're coming towards the end of the 7th. Neil bowls to Walter, and Walter just plays defensively back down the pitch. Pretty good over on the whole that from Neil. Just had that front foot lap which went to the boundary. But 54 for 1, Walter 17 and Allison 3, and the target 131, and there are 13 overs left.
Hampshire at this stage had 75. They were 2 down. It was coming towards the end of the Mays-Weatherly partnership. They put on 49 in 4 overs, and really Hampshire were just losing wickets in a procession after that, so they never really made any impression after that partnership. So whilst Essex are behind at the moment, they won't feel under too much pressure. Change of bowling is going to be Chris Wood switching ends. Tends to bowl his overs out now, does Chris Wood, early on. And left arm over and bowls, and Allison plays that almost into his body, and the ball flicks away. In fact, he plays it into his boot. It goes out on the offside for a single.
So we now know that Essex are going to be in the top 3 of the South group. Kent are out of it, but they have to be one of the 2 best third place sides. It looks likely that one of those will come from the Central and West group, and
Who are you competing against then?
So it's Lancashire and Durham, I think, are the key games we're looking at. That Roses match, Yorkshire 21 for 1, chasing 217 just in the second over. And Durham 165 for 7 have just fought back. Derbyshire 90 for 4 in the 13th.
Wood to Walter. Walter gets a leading edge there. The ball pops away, square on the offside for a single. 56 for 1 in the 8th.
Yeah, I mean, it is remarkable that little bits of luck have not gone Hampshire's way, but the more we're seeing of this pitch, Kevin, the more it's looking like more sort of 165, 170 pitch.
It seems to be slowing up, doesn't it?
Yes.
56 for 1. So from here, 75 are needed. Allison just works it away with an open face down to Ben Mays at third man. Keeps it down to 1. 57 for 1 in the 8th. Allison on to 5.
On Sunday, 2 games are starting later than the others, Somerset, Worcestershire and Essex, Surrey. Other teams might feel a little bit aggrieved in that the sides involved in those late games will know what they have to do.
It's not ideal, that, is
no.
it? It's not ideal at all. That. Wood into Walter, works that away on the onside, jogs through for a single. He doesn't seem in much hurry. He moves on to 19, 58 for 1. Yeah, that's not an ideal. I mean, you know, fortunately Hampshire are qualified, but you know, if they keep going the way they are, they're going to be away from home. But Essex, I mean, it's an ideal.
I mean,
scenario,
what Essex will know is whether they need to beat Surrey. Obviously, they'll try to beat Surrey anyway,
yeah.
but we'll know hopefully by the end of the season whether they have to win that game.
Paul and miss from Allison, not taken cleanly by Albert. Doesn't matter. No run.
But so we've had that big win for Surrey tonight. Kent, who've well, they've had a couple of shockers. Kent, they had one at Canterbury really against Essex, and they've had another one tonight. Kent 102 all out. Surrey 106 for 1 in the 9th.
Singing started already. That's a drive on the up half, stopped by Wood, but they'll get a single. Allison moves on to 6, 59 for 1 at the end of the 8th.
The other game in the South Group was a dead rubber, which Sussex beat Middlesex by 18 runs. So games we're keeping an eye on. It looks like Somerset are going to beat Northants. That will take Somerset to 24 points. And 115 for 2 in the 10th, chasing 163. And I think I'm right in saying Northants have only lost the one game. That was to Somerset, and they're going to lose to them again. So
Chris Lim not got any tonight?
Probably not enough, I would have thought. They only made 162 for 8. He made 1, which didn't help the cause.
That means he'll get 100 next game.
Yeah. Yes,
Well,
it's probably not the venue that anyone wants to go to, Northants, with their overall form, as this is bowled by Neil with slow left arm and played by Allison, making a 50 over type pace to the innings here, Allison, but it's the right thing to do, I'm sure, to play himself in. He knows there's something in this pitch, and he just plays it out for a single to mid-off, and now it's going to be Walter, who by and large has played within himself, 19 from 18 balls. He hits this one down the ground, that's going up towards long off, and it's gone all the way. Picked that up length, and he's just injected the occasional bit of aggression, and that with a lovely clean hit down the ground. He goes to 25 with that 6, and it's 66 for 1.
Well, that's a clean hit, isn't it? Sometimes straight hits down this end don't always go as far as you think, even though it's a short boundary.
This is driven away for a single up towards long off by Walter, and he goes to 26. A very disappointing evening at the moment for Hampshire, who are not peaking at the right time, if you see what I mean in terms of the way the group has gone. But they are going to be in the quarter-finals. That's the critical thing, as this one is a pull drive away for a single up towards deep mid-wicket for Allison. And I suppose the one thing, Kevin, I don't think it will happen because of Surrey's big win tonight, but I think you can actually end up playing a side from the same group. They don't want you back here for the quarter-final. I don't think that's going to happen.
As much as I love coming here, I don't really want to
I don't think that will happen. So this is a pull drive from Walter and away for a single. Didn't time that up towards deep mid-wicket. And it goes to 69 for 1.
I don't fancy another 7-hour round trip, if I'm really honest.
So, must admit, it's at the moment shaping up. Those a couple of games that we mentioned last few years. Essex won by 8 wickets. It's one of those at the moment here, as this is driven away down the ground for a single by Allison, who's playing very sensibly within himself. 9 from 12, 70 for 1. But they do have the licence to, as they get closer to the target, of course, to really push on and potentially put Hampshire under net run rate pressure for the second place in the group if they were to win again on Sunday. So 70 for 1, Walter 27 and Allison 9.
I suppose I shouldn't moan if I do come back here, because if I'm going up to Lancashire or Yorkshire, it's probably looking at 10-hour round trips, so yeah, I probably shouldn't moan too much. Looks like one or two in the stands now are starting to enjoy the occasion and the game, I guess. Because Essex look as though they've got this pretty much under control. They are 70 for 1, which means from here they need just 61.
So, assuming Essex win this, we know Kent have lost. If Lancashire and Durham both lose, Essex will qualify tonight, because the third place side in the North Group can get to no more than 22 points. At the moment, Lancashire with that 216, still probably favourites to beat Yorkshire, but they're 32 for 1 in the third.
Sonny Baker's back into the attack, 1 for 21 from 3, and he's bowling from the same end, the Graham Gooch end, runs towards us and bowls to Allison. Allison flicks that full delivery away behind square on the leg side. We'll pick up 1, 71 for 1. Allison moves into double figures. We
may well know the result of the Derbyshire game before we go off air. Derbyshire 104 for 4 in the 15th, chasing 165, so they need 62 in 5 overs and 4 balls with 6 wickets left, so that's very tight at Chester Street.
Just about lost the sun, haven't we? It's low over the horizon somewhere anyway. All the ground is in shadows now. Ben Mays is just checking where Baker wants him. He's come up on the 30-yard circle at fine leg, just in front of us. Here's Baker to the left-handed Walter. Walter gets another full delivery and just casually flicks it away on the leg side for a single. Moves on to 28 from 22. 72 for 1 now are Essex. Hampshire are still ahead at this stage because they went at it very hard early on, but at the same time lost wickets. So Essex will slowly but surely claw that deficit back. 2 balls gone to the 10th. Baker with his last over here. Vince has thrown everything at this as far as getting Baker on early, trying to blast the Essex batters out with pace. So far it's only been Pepper. Pulls that away on the leg side, misses. Goes through to Toby Albert. Again, it's not called a wide.
Yeah, just the one for the over from the umpire, but good pace there from Baker. In a way, it seems fair that the quicker bowlers can get away with that sort of delivery in T20.
We did have a wide early on from that far in. I think, was that Charlie Bennett? But I mean,
he was perhaps the quickest of the Essex attack this evening.
They were pitched a little shorter than what Baker's bowling. Well, he's got 3 balls to pick up another wicket. Can he do it? He's bowling to Allison once more and bowls. He's bowled him. He has. Oh, and Allison's trying to whip that away on the leg side. It's a leg ball straight, and just like Pepper, although Pepper was trying to muller his. He's playing across the line and paid the price. Allison goes for 10.
Yeah, Allison was definitely playing within himself there, but in the end, as the quality of Baker and that extra pace undid him there. So, looking at the Essex lineup here, I mean, they've got Benkenstein, Critchley. Interesting to see. It's Benkenstein next, then presumably Critchley, then Thane. Harmer, of course, is in great form. The slightly frustrating thing from a Hampshire point of view is that they had those extra 40 runs. They would look at the Essex lineup without Cox and think, well, you know, there is potentially areas in which we could make greater inroads into the batting. But I think Essex have gone about this pretty sensibly. It's been calculated aggression. They've learned that lesson from Sunday. They haven't been 69 for 8 again, and they've got themselves into a situation where they're just 59 runs away, still with 8 wickets in hand, and obviously they can accelerate. They've got wickets in hand towards the end, and they can make a dash for the line.
Another one of the promising youngsters here walks to the crease. Luke Benkenstein, 21-year-old.
Yeah, he's had a Good campaign, 210 runs, just the 150. He's been very consistent though.
Yeah, he's striking at 132 per 100 this season, which is pretty decent. Sonny Baker, 2 for 23. Vince has certainly thrown everything at it, but Baker's rewarded him with 2 wickets. Can he pick up 3? He's got 2 balls to do it. It's flicked away, almost caught at mid-wicket, but he's going for 4. It's gone for the Yorker. It was in the air and past a diving Hilton Cartwright.
Yeah, I suppose that's one that, say, Mackenzie Jones might have turned into a catch a little bit earlier on. There's not that far away from the fielder, but anything that's anything remotely close to one of the infielders, they're going to have to take any chance that's there. In the end, it wasn't a chance, but it was a near thing.
76 for 2. Last ball of the 10th over coming up. It's got a slip in as Sonny Baker for Luke Benkenstein, right-hander. In. Baker bowls, and it's a lovely drive through the covers. It will be picked up by Stubbs out into the deep, and Benkenstein will keep the strike. 10 gone. Essex are 77 for 2. Hampshire at the same stage were 94 for 5.
Yep, so just repeating that Gloucestershire have already won in that Central and West group, and Somerset are on the way to beating Northland, so they'll go to 24 points in that table. Glamorgan and Warwickshire playing each other. Glamorgan really need to win that game to stay in contention. It's been a group where most of the sides have had sort of positive net run rates because of the fact that they've beaten all the other sides in the cross pool games. We've got Sports Extra and Sports Extra 2 with us. It's been a very, very good day for Essex so far. 130 all out. Hampshire, Essex 77 for 2. Just a short target now with 10 overs left, and here's Carey bowling, and that's just played off the back foot by Benkenstein along the ground, and there's no run. But characteristics of the innings is that the Hampshire innings was full of balls being hit into the air, some big shots that came off, but quite a few that didn't. Some very, very good catching from Essex, and it was Matt Critchley who broke the 3rd wicket stand and then got another wicket in the same over, and from that point on Hampshire were under the cosh as this is played off the back foot along to deep cover for a single by Benkenstein. He's gone to 6. Walter playing within himself, 28 from 22 balls, 78 for 2, and we're in the 11th over, so plenty of time. 53 off 58 balls, which isn't really going to be any sort of a problem. There is an outside chance that Essex could go through tonight, but it's going to need both Lancashire and Durham to lose, and certainly the Lancashire game will be finishing, I would have thought, sometime after this one. As Carey bowls, that's just played defensively back down the pitch. He's not quite sure where it is, and in the end Carey looks to just flick a boot at the ball and see if he can get a run out, but he's not able to make connection, and they're through for the single. So 79 for 2. Nick Ledhill here with Kevin James. Disappointing night so far for Hampshire, Kevin, who've, I say, well, I was saying earlier, they've not peaked at the wrong time.
No, I mean, unusual for Hampshire because it's usually the second half of the competition where they come good and sneak through by the skin of their teeth usually, but it's been the other way this year, and they're heading for their 3rd defeat in 4.
Yes, this next delivery from Carey is played away along the ground towards deep square leg for a single. But we're talking about the importance for Essex of the fact the game will start at 6:30 on Sunday, by which time the Lancashire-Durham direct clash on Sunday will have finished, and that will leave Essex knowing exactly what the situation is. It may well be they still have to at least get a tie, or obviously preferably beat Surrey, as this is played by Walter off Carey for a single just past Mays at cover. But been quite a few singles here. They're just rotating the strike, and there's been a notably different approach here from Essex to the one from Hampshire. There's been less risk. There is a very short boundary away to our left on the apartment side. In actual fact, probably Hampshire made more use of that, but the problem for Hampshire was they just lost so many wickets.
Yeah, losing their last 8 wickets for 54 in 7 overs.
81 for 2, 50 required with 9 overs after this. And again, another mainly defensive shot here by Benkenstein, just played off the back foot up into the covers. 81 for 2. We've seen some good bowling from Sonny Baker, 2 for 28 in his 4 overs. A shame from his point of view he didn't have more runs to play with. 81 for 2, Walter 30 and Benkenstein 7.
Yeah, I mean, just to reiterate, Hampshire have already qualified and had done so even before they lost to Middlesex on Wednesday, but I think now it's getting a little bit dicey as to whether they can secure a home quarter-final tie, which they are so desperate to do, having only had 4 home quarter-finals in 13. So, having played so well at the first half of this competition, it almost seemed a formality that they would get a home quarter-final. Now, you feel the way things have turned a little bit, that it's all going to come down to Hove whether they do or not. Chris Wood then to bowl his final over, done for 23, bowling to the left-hander Paul Walter, runs in, Walter comes down the wicket, smashes it up in the air, now Fuller's under it at extra cover, oh, he dropped it! And that's the second one he's dropped tonight.
And the easier of the 2.
Well, it has been one of those nights for Hampshire, I'm afraid. And
they're an unsympathetic crowd here on a Friday night.
You surprised me,
aren't they?
Yeah.
And it has been a difference between the two sides. We saw a couple of very good, one outstanding Essex catch and another very good one. But the chances for Hampshire and to Fuller specifically have not been taken.
He's been pushed back right in front of that that Felsted school stand. I don't know what it's called otherwise, but he'll get a bit of stick there because there was some close-ups of some fans in there earlier and they looked like they had a few drinks in their hand. So I imagine he's getting a bit of stick there away to our left. 82 for 2 in the 12th as Benkenstein just quietly plays that away on the onside. It goes to Fuller. There you go. Predictable reaction from the crowd as it goes to the man who's just dropped Walter, the ball before.
So
might be just as well I'm getting out of here early.
Durham, Derbyshire latest, Derbyshire 125 for 5, need 41 in 24 balls with 5 wickets left. Still could be a close finish at Chester Street. That's a significant one for Essex. If Durham win, they can still get to 24 points.
Here's Wood into Walter, who tries to flick that away on the leg side. He's got it very fine. He's not bothering to run. He knows that's 4. Walks right across his stumps there. Went a long way as well.
Well, post-COVID, it's been a case of the even-numbered years. Essex have won by 8 wickets. Will they do it again? 2022 and 2024. And here we are. If these two can stay together, they might get a third.
So in 2 years' time, I'm not coming.
Yes, that might be a good one to take off.
87 for 2. Here's Wood, short, and that's just helped away on the leg side. Runs the first one quickly because it hasn't gone very far. He'll come back for 2. Ball just about lands on the 30-yard circle behind square on the leg side. Just come off the bottom edge of the bat. He's just trying to flick that away. Walter moves on to 37, I think that is.
Now it's starting to look quite good for Lancashire. It's all down to Bairstow and Mern Ali, who are both not out. Yorkshire 43 for 3 in the 5th, chasing 217. So Lancashire favourites to win that game and to go to 22 points. Remember, they played Durham before Surrey Essex on Sunday.
Wood comes in, he's gone again, and he's flicked it over Albert, who's running back. 2 bounces, picks it up. Sister Singer got right underneath that one, but again, it's one of those nights where generally the ball in the air hasn't gone quite to a Hampshire fielder, but let's be honest, when it has gone to a Hampshire fielder, they've dropped it. 2 more to the total. Takes Essex on to 90 for 2. Remember, 131 is the target. Chris Wood still looking for his first wicket of the night, and he's only got 1 ball to do that. If he doesn't get one tonight, he stays 3rd in the all-time wicket takers list, 3 behind Samit Patel. To be looking to have closed that off before the end of the competition, as that's hit away on the up, out to Stubbs at deep cover. Bobbles a little bit on the outfield, but Stubbs picks it up cleanly. Benkenstein will keep the strike. So that is 12 overs gone. Essex are 91 for 2. After 12 overs, Hampshire had 113. So again, still ahead, but they were really starting to lose momentum at this point.
So it could be that Durham and Essex are going to be, if Durham win, they'll both be on 24 points. Now Essex's net run rate is not particularly hot, it's plus 0.1, and Durham's, if they were to win tonight, will improve slightly on their plus 0.6. So Essex will want to try to get over the line as quickly as possible. Curry bowls, and that's driven away, past cover, goes away probably for 2. It's being chased round a deep extra cover. They decide against a second run, or Walter specifically does, and he'll be back on strike with 38. Benkenstein, again, just playing a good supporting role here, 10 from 9, and it's 92 for 2, and 13th over, target 131, so 39 from 47 with 8 wickets in hand. There's Curry bowls again, and here Walter watches that one carefully onto his bat, and it just rolls out towards backward point, and there's no run.
I've just noticed some red and blue lights on the bases of the floodlights. Quite pretty.
Yep.
That's about all I can say about that one.
So Hampshire have not bowled badly, it's just they haven't had anything much to work with in terms of the target. This is hit away in the air, it's going up towards deep square leg, and it's just going to bounce short, and they've got 1. Well, Walter gets another single. 1 or 2 have just fallen short of the Hampshire fielders here, but if they could have got 165, 170, if there's been enough in this pitch. What we haven't yet seen is the sort of spin equivalent to Critchley, which obviously caused real problems. Critchley taking 4 for 16. This is it, hit in the air. It's going to be up towards the keeper. He'll take it. That's the 3rd wicket. A miscue from Benkenstein. The first real shot in anger he's tried to play, looking for the pull shot to the absolute top edge, and it has flown very gently up into the air, and Albert has waited for it. He's just gone back a few strides. He's taken the catch. Hampshire must be frustrated they didn't have 35 more runs on the board here. 93 for 3 Essex, and that is a deserved wicket for Curry. 1 for 14 at 2 overs and 4 balls.
19th wicket of the campaign for Scott Curry. Oh, the cutter there that really was short into the wicket, just held up there. He was a little bit early into the shot. Well, Matt Critchley, as we've said earlier, wickets, runs every time he walks to the crease this season against Hampshire in the Championship, and again here tonight. You wouldn't bank on him getting a quick 30 or 40 and finishing the game.
So Derbyshire need 27 from 2 overs at Chesterland Street. There's still 5 wickets left, but it looks like Durham are saying if they can beat Lancashire, they can get to 24 points. But if Lancashire win tonight and then beat Durham, they can get to 26. It's looking as though Essex are still going to have to beat Surrey or at least get a tie. But they will know the result of that Lancashire-Durham game before their match starts, which I'm sure is going to be quite useful. Here's Curry coming into bowl to Critchley, who's had a pretty good evening, and he plays a pretty authentic-looking defensive shot, but timed well enough almost for a drive, and it beats the bowler, but it's picked up by Neil at mid-on, and there's no run. 93 for 3, so just a further 38 required from 43 balls with 7 wickets in hand. And one of those evenings where we thought Hampshire needed 190-200, it probably was the case. They might only have needed 175. Here's Curry bowling. It's just a run down towards backward point, and there's no run, because definitely there's been a relatively conservative approach from Essex, and when players have changed that approach, like Pepper and then Benkenstein, that is when they've tended to get out. 93 for 3, Walter 39, Critchley no score, 38 to get in 7 overs, but 7 wickets in hand.
Yeah, again, Hampshire still well ahead at this stage, had 114, but there were 7 down at this stage. To see where the problems lie. Hampshire still had 25 balls left of their innings if they could have kept a few wickets intact, but there's that one solitary partnership of 49 between Ben Mays and Joe Weatherly, the only partnership of note that came in just 4 overs. Right, we've got James Fuller into the attack for the first time tonight. Sonny Baker has done a pretty good job, but really has very little to work with, as have the rest of the bowlers. Here's Fuller then into the left-handed Paul Walters. 39 of 30 currently. That's flicked away in the air, up towards deep mid-off, 2 bounces at the far end of the ground. 94 for 3, which means 37 runs are needed.
Well, Yorkshire Bairstow out for 2, 47 for 4, and was 6th, chasing 2:17. That's looking pretty bleak. And I think Lancashire supporters would have been a bit disappointed by that tie against Derbyshire on Monday night, but they'll be enjoying themselves. I think it's an Old Trafford, that one, tonight, and in fact their last 3 games were at home, Lancashire, so they'll go. It looks like they're going to win that. They'll go to 22, and of course they play Durham on Sunday.
Here's Fuller, runs towards us, trying to cut that, keeps a little low to Matt Critchley. It's quite wide, that one as well, outside the off stump, bounces twice through to Toby Albert.
So one thing we do know, assuming Lancashire are going to win that game, if they beat Durham as well, they go to 26, and that will mean that Essex will have to beat Surrey. Lancashire's net run rate isn't that great, but it might well be improved tonight. But so it's looking like at the moment, the fact that Lancashire look like winning means that Essex may well yet have to beat Surrey.
Fuller into Critchley. Critchley drives powerfully, picks out Weatherly at backward a point. Nice looking shot, just opening the face of the bat there, using Fuller's pace. 94 for 3. 37 runs needed from 39 deliveries. Looks a little closer than I thought it was going to be. At least we've made it to the lights. Haven't quite got full power out there yet, because there's still some blue sky around, but coming up to 9:15, I think that's. I thought the game might have been all over by now if Essex had gone hard at it like Hampshire did. That's pulled away, not timed by Critchley. Ball bobbles out towards deep square leg. 95 for 3 in the 14th. 36 off 38 needed. I know Essex, they haven't really sort of got out of second gear,
no,
really.
We were discussing about what the tactic might be in the interval, and
they've just gone
sort of gone slightly closer to what I thought they would do, which is basically there's a bit in the pitch, it's a decent bowling attack, and they've not taken undue risk.
No, they haven't. It's Fuller short. It's helped away on the leg side by Paul Walter. Moves on to 41, 96 for 3, and 35 runs are needed from 37 deliveries. Shouldn't really be close. It feels close when you say it like that, but it doesn't feel as though it's that close at all.
I mean, 2 quick wickets for Hampshire. They've got to get rid of Simon Harmer, who would be the biggest obstacle. But again, the frustration is 160, 175, even 165 would have been quite useful.
I must admit, the way Hampshire went early on, that's hit up in the air over mid-off, who's up, but not really well hit. Just wide of mid-off and just over him, that's Ben Mays. The way Hampshire came out of the traps and the way the ball was disappearing, you thought, well, there's 200s on here, but the ball always just did that little bit at times, and Hampshire were exposed with the attacking shots that they were playing. But the ball always seemed to be coming onto the bat, but with a little bit of seam movement. When every time ball did seem to pick up a wicket. And then Matt Critchley came on and just got the ball to hold a little bit in the turf, and he picked up wickets straight away, and Hampshire, I'm afraid, were just losing too many wickets too quickly, trying to go at a fair pace. Now, Tristan Stubbs, who bowled 4 overs in the game against Middlesex the other night, he doesn't bowl lots, but he's back on here. Andrew Neil, the left-arm spinner, has only bowled a couple of overs, 2 none for 18. And Stubbs, who bowled tidily against Middlesex, is on again.
Bowls, and Walter plays a full shot, which is indicative of how the pitch has played at times. He's looking to crash it through the covers, and it bounces up towards a straight cover. That's Vince, and there is no run. So 98 for 3, just the 33 needed. And he goes for a pick-up shot here, Walter, and it goes over, just over deep square leg and away for 6. And it might be that Essex, with Stubbs coming on, are just thinking this might be the time to try and push on. The win is the really crucial thing here, but there could yet be a net run rate battle with Durham if they win their last 2 games. But they've taken the approach that the most important thing is the victory here. 100, but nobody will try and push on now as Walter goes back into his crease, and Paul drives that away. That could well be another 4, and it is. So Walter goes to his 50 with a couple of boundaries, and that one he just went back into his crease. It's been he's got there in 35 balls. He's accelerated a little bit in recent times. It's his third 50 of the season. And Paul Walter goes to 51. 131 is the target, 108 for 3. Always, again, trying to whip it away into the onside. That one beats the shot, runs away, I think entirely off the pad, or maybe a bit of bat. There's a bit of bat, so there's 1 to the total and 1 to Walter. He's on 52. So Stubbs going for a few here, but obviously it's a bit of a losing cause, and Hampshire's net run rate is going to take a bit of a hit here. Of course, Surrey have overtaken them at the top of the table. They're level on 28 points, but Surrey now with a pretty good net run rate. This is the one that's hit away down the ground. That's going to go over, long off for 6, using the feet, and superbly struck by Critchley. He's had a quiet time with the bat. I think he's barely got 100 runs in the tournament, but he's used his feet there with an elegant stroke and just hit it down the ground. 4 wickets earlier and a lovely 6 down the ground. This proving inexpensive, over 17 from it so far. 16 to win. They are going for the line now, Essex. This is driven firmly away up towards long off for a single.
Well, Critchley.
116 for 3.
I keep saying it. You should play against Hampshire every week. You'll be playing in the IPL.
Well, that Durham-Derbyshire game has gone right down to the wire. I've got Derbyshire needing a 6 off the last ball. But if Durham win it, they'll go to 20. If Lancashire beat Yorkshire, they'll go to 22. And the two sides playing each other in the last round of games mid-afternoon on Sunday. But Essex, if they beat Surrey, don't have to worry about them. They will go to 28 points and they will qualify certainly in one of the top 3 positions. They're already guaranteed of that after the Kent defeat this evening, the big Kent defeat against Surrey, who won inside 10 overs with 9 wickets to spare.
So 15 to win with 30 balls remaining, and it is going to be it's James Fuller from the far end as we look, and Critchley smacks him over his head, and that's going for 6. That was nowhere near full enough to be able to do that. He's just hit through the line. It was short of a length, and that's just cracked away slightly wide of the off stump. All yours, Nick.
Well, 9 runs to win. They've had a couple of 8-wicket wins we mentioned in 22 and 24 Essex. This is going to be a little bit less than that, but it's been an interesting and strange game in many respects, as Hampshire were going along very well, and now Essex are going for the line. Now Durham have beaten Derbyshire by 5 runs. Durham's net run rate won't change too much. It's plus 0.6 going into this game. They've got 20 points. They can get to 24 if they beat Lancashire. Lancashire, we think, will go to 22 tonight, winning the Roses match. They're bang on top. Yorkshire 56 for 5. So Lancashire are going to get a good net run rate boost. So chances are whoever wins that game between Lancashire and Durham will go ahead of Essex, either on points if it's Lancashire, or net run rate if it's Durham. And that will mean that Essex will have to get a result against Surrey. 122 for 3. This is an attempt to force the ball away down the ground. Flies off an edge, and Critchley will collect 4 runs. He was trying to hit that through mid-wicket, and it's gone down to fine third man.
Well, he's trying to finish it this over.
Yeah, I think they realised that there may have been indications about this run rate situation. It's how Durham and Essex are going to look on net run rate, and what will be the situation if Durham beat Lancashire and go to 24 points. Essex probably will start behind them, so it means, of course, that they'll have to get a result. But we'll see how the Essex net run rate shapes up at the end of this game. If this is an attempt to sweep the ball away, if it's going to be a couple of runs, it's going to be stopped at deep backward square leg. They come back for 2, so that's 128 for 3. 3 runs needed. Critchley's gone to 22 from 11 balls. What a match he's had. But not for the first time against Hampshire this season. As he has had a quiet campaign. He's got some wickets, but he's been short of runs. And Walter has played a sensible anchor role here. But I suspect Critchley will be the man of the match, because it was that spell, wasn't it, Kevin, that really derailed Hampshire here. Here is Fuller again. Bowles, that's an attempt to swing the ball away through mid-wicket. It comes, I think, off the pad. They've scampered through for 1. and it is a bit of bat in that. So Critchley on to 23, Walter 52, just 2 to win. We're in the 16th over. So the Essex net run rate is going to get a boost, but they're going to start on Sunday with an inferior net run rate to Durham. So it's looking like Essex will have to get a result against Surrey, because if they lose, they're going to be behind Durham or Lancashire surely. This is to attempt to flick the ball away into the onside, comes off the pad and rolls down towards short fine leg. That is a leg bye. So Durham have beaten Derbyshire by 5 runs. Lancashire look like they're winning the Roses match. Big win for Surrey earlier on by 9 wickets. And Notts are on the verge of beating Leicestershire and going to 32 points in the North Group, keeping their lead at the top of the North Group and probably extending it to 6 points. And that will mean that Notts are going to win the North Group tonight, assuming Yorkshire don't stage a miraculous fight back in the Roses match. Here is Fuller, comes into bowl again. This is driven away, that's the winning runs, away through extra cover for 4. What a game from Matt Critchley, who finishes on 27. Walter, a very sensible 52 from 37 balls. And Essex winning this game with 4 overs to spare, so they will get a net run rate boost. It'll be interesting to see where they are in that respect. We'll hopefully be able to update that for you before we go off the air. But Walter 52, Critchley 27. In the end, Hampshire at least 40 runs probably short, and a very good victory for Essex.
Well, that was never really in doubt, was it really? I mean, Essex could have won that, 2 or 3 overs ago if they'd really gone at it even half as hard as Hampshire did. It's a little bit worrying. Hampshire's form has dipped away somewhat, but, and I say this, and I said it after the Middlesex game, don't panic too much because they are into the quarter-finals. Unfortunately, a home tie is slipping away. It's still within Hampshire's grasp. They have another chance of doing it if they win down at Sussex on Sunday, but where they had 3 chances to guarantee a home quarter-final tie, they are now just down to 1. They were thoroughly outplayed tonight. They went at it very, very hard today. It didn't come off. On another day it might have done, but of course it can only be played on the day, and it's a thoroughly deserved Essex victory.
Yep, Somerset have won, Nottinghamshire have won. We'll update the table just before we go off the air, but a very, very good victory for Essex, set up by the bowlers and fielders. We should also add there were some very good catches for Essex and a couple of opportunities, one relatively straightforward to Fuller that he put down. So Hampshire weren't able to hold their catches. There was some good bowling from Hampshire. I thought Baker was impressive, but it was those wickets from Snater and from Critchley, that 4 for 16 for Critchley, that was really absolutely essential in terms of restricting Hampshire to just 130, which wasn't going to be enough. So we're looking to see now, say with Durham winning, it's going to be Durham going up to 20 points. Lancashire looking like they're going to win the Roses match. Those two sides playing each other on Sunday before Essex play Surrey. So that result will be significant. It's looking as though Essex will need to get at least a tie, and obviously looking for a win against Surrey in the final game. Surrey top of the South Group tonight with 28 points and a very good net run rate.
Nick, thank you very much. Thanks for your company this evening. Disappointing from a Hampshire point of view, and well done to Essex, certainly giving themselves a very, very good chance of basically getting a draw that they want.
Yeah, Essex's net run rate is plus 0.25, Durham's is plus 0.53, and I say if Durham win and Essex, if Durham win against Lancashire, whatever the result, Lancashire, Durham, Essex have to win, I think, at least get a tie.
So a comprehensive win for the hosts here this evening. Essex have won this game by 7 wickets, and we'll hand you back to the Solent studio.